Like to call the meeting to order and start with the pledge of flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our August 18th meeting. Do we have any additions to the agenda? Amy? No. Danny? No. Paul? No. Christie?
I'd like to add Chris Larson, we have the PIO updates.
And I don't have anything. Christie?
No.
So do I have a motion to approve the additions to the agenda, the regular meeting minutes and the monthly bills?
Don't move.
Second? Second.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I need to make a clarifying in the minutes.
Okay.
So on the August 4th. Regular meeting minutes, I just want to make a clarification. That the motion that I made in the last minute was meant to include in the library agreement. The fund, also include the funding mechanism change where the city would be included in the county mills. It was just stated that it was for each board to have majority to withdraw. But I just wanted to have a little bit of clarification that that was also what was a change in the agreement. So.
Yeah.
The motion was meant to include the funding mechanism change. As well as the motion to adopt the simple majority voting as an exit strategy for each party. Was it also to clarify the equal funding from the county and city? Was that what you?
Well, I think it was supposed to include this
Exhibit A.
mechanism.
Yeah, that I felt like that was part of the mechanism change myself, but, or that was all part of it, but.
Yeah. Well, I guess where I'm sitting at is, like we kind of talked, we can't change the motion at this point. But you're just trying to clarify,
Yeah.
right, that was our intent. When we sent our agreement to the city of Grafton was for the simple majority vote by the board. And the funding mechanism, the financial, the equity that Paul had developed, that sheet. So to fix this, do we include that in the minutes? We can't change the motion at this point. Do we just maybe elaborate on the minutes so that was all discussed?
My thought was just an addendum to just state that that was,
More clarify the motion.
yeah, not to change the motion, just
Right,
to kind of
just to
add that
clarify.
to these minutes from last meeting and then just let that be.
Yeah.
Sure.
Everybody's good with that?
Mhm.
Well, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, nice thing. Motion carries. Employee time. Don't get here. We got El Gadas and construction engineers on a jail update.
They're here.
Great.
All right, I kind of have the same update as I had last time. We are still working through a few things, mostly with mechanical, electrical. There's a little bit of back and forth because we'll get ideas from the subcontractors that come to us, that then go to the design team, that come back to us, then go back to the contractor for pricing. So it's a process. We're working through it. We'd like to come back again in 2 weeks, and even if the mechanical and electrical aren't fully vetted, you know, we don't wanna wait until bids expired. So we may come back and say, hey, can we get partial approval? Or if we're far enough along, look for full approval. But right now, again, we're doing some work, we've got some time. So it's not hurting anything to just do our due diligence, come back, with a plan forward. We're also, we have the early phase drawings for the mechanical work That's part of the courthouse project, that's bid pack 3. And we wanna dig in a little bit deeper because it matters. You know, part of the work that's happening at the jail is for the courthouse. So having an understanding of what the cost for bid pack 3 is and how much of the costs in bid pack 2 are in that courthouse portion matters, so we're also working on that.
When do the bids expire?
Typically it's 45 days, you know, it's a hard line contractually, but it's not like after 45 days, everybody just says, hey, we're not doing this anymore, so I'm not concerned that we're gonna have people withdrawing their bids, but at the same time, the longer you wait, the more likely it is that somebody will have a material increase or for another reason why they don't wanna honor their bid anymore. But
Any other questions for him?
When the bids do come, will we get those with our packet prior to the meeting? Okay.
yeah,
Any,
So the HVAC, that includes the courthouse and the jail, are they separated in any way or are they all included in the one bid?
so the equipment that will service the courthouse is also gonna service the jail.
Yeah,
So as far as like chiller, boilers, that's all part of bid package 2. The work that would actually happen in the courthouse building is all in bid package 3. But, you know, you'll have, you know, a piece of heating equipment in the courthouse that's fed from the mechanic room that's in the jail. So that's why I said they're very intertwined
yeah,
scopes of work. You can't do phase 3 without having phase 2 in place. You won't have to buy separate boilers and chillers for the courthouse because they're shared equipment.
right,
But that's why it's important for us to understand
yeah,
how it'll all tie together in the end so that we know at the end of bid pack 3 where the budget stands.
so in the course of funding. Let's say how many dollars are gonna be spent in the courthouse. Is that gonna be a separate mechanism where the courthouse is gonna pay for that and not put it on the jail? I guess we never even really talked about that,
that's the point I was trying to get
Yeah.
at too, was.
and I guess that's something I'd love to look at.
That's up to you guys, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cause like I said, we got it here for the jail, but if we're gonna do something, we had that other company hired and that's long gone, so. That funding there, if it's for the courthouse, to me, the courthouse should be paying for that part of the funding, that's just my idea, we'll have to talk about it when the time comes. Well,
Wasn't that all designed to come out of capital projects?
and that's my point, there is money sort of stuck there for the rest of the buildings and whatever we're gonna do over at Chase and everything else, but. Apparently, we talked about capital projects and the courthouse doing it, well, it's changed a little bit, but still the courthouse, I think, should be paying for some of that. Whatever it's gonna cost, I don't know. So we'll have to talk about that when you come back with the bidding.
yeah, and that's part of what we're trying to establish too,
Yeah.
is to say, hey, the courthouse. You know, really should be like funding this,
Yeah.
this percent of this bid package. And it's not a perfect, you know, black and
Right.
white, so we're gonna get, you know, our best. Representation of that, so that you guys can
You know, and
see
And
how.
and even on the mechanical system, if that's not black and white, then you have electrical on top of it,
Mhm.
power requirements. Those two that service all that equipment, so.
Yeah. Any other questions? Thanks, guys. See you in 2 weeks. Library agreement, we're a little ahead, but we'll move forward. So there's a notice of motion being made to rescind the prior motion that was made on November 18, 2025, to put the library agreement on the general election ballot. Do we have any discussion?
About the agreement?
This is discussion of the ballot measure, this one.
Mr. Chairman, I feel the agreement should be discussed before we move into a motion to rescind. Because before I'm ready to vote on that, I want to know specifically what is in this agreement.
Agreement?
Otherwise, I feel like we'd be voting without knowing.
Has our state's attorney looked over the agreement?
I couldn't tell you.
I know it just got done last night, so it probably, I'm guessing no, but I don't know the answer to that. I think Rob was planning on being here.
He's down at the water board when I was there.
Oh, okay.
And maybe we should wait, because he said he was coming up.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Let's do that, and let's just wait for Rob to come up.
Well, and how about our state's attorney? Our state's attorney should be
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Rob is city, right? So,
But that's what I was saying, he just finished this
Finished
late
last-
yesterday, so I'm guessing the state's attorney hasn't looked at it, but.
Give him a call and then we'll move on.
Mr. Chair, I will say that I did approach Kelly on discussing the funding mechanism change, so she was aware of that and said that that would be legal fine in what we were discussing on funding with Mills and the change with the city being involved in the county mills as well. So it's not, it wouldn't be brand new, you know, so the few of the other things, but that main thing, the former state's attorney was aware.
right, so, well, yeah. I
So
guess
we're-
maybe we wanna hold off, I don't wanna get too much into it until, if you're holding off.
Yeah, we probably should wait for Rob.
Could we move on to Chris then, because he kind of, this kind of ended up being
Yep, go
last
ahead.
minute, so he doesn't
Yep.
have to sit through the whole meeting, would that be possible?
Yep. Chris?
Well, it
So-
would help if I hit the right button. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for letting me jump in here today. Just wanted to give an update here on our website and ADA accessibility requirements that have been put out by the federal government. I'm just going to try and share my screen here so you guys can see what our website looks like right now. Are you guys able to see our website?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So right now at the face of our website, the biggest thing with the ADA accessibility when you're looking at this site as a whole is differentiating the colors for somebody that may be visually impaired. So like our bar here that's got all of these different links. Right now that is ADA. We are ADA compliant on the outside. What I've been working with our company, and I'll stop sharing the screen just because that's what I wanted to show you. What I've been visiting with Revise a couple of months ago. My understanding is that when we switched our providers, that we were going to be ADA accessible based on the guidelines. Now, we've been told by the ADA that accessibility guidelines have changed. Originally, the deadline was going to be coming up quickly here. The nice thing is the Department of Justice for municipalities, for governments our size, we've been given an extra year. So we have until April of 2028 to be accessible. Revise, who again is our website provider, has I told Christy this morning, I stumbled across it. There has been a lot of email from Revise on what they're offering as far as accessibility. But one of the things that I have found that they just released is on our website, we put our agendas up, we put our minutes up, our county commissioner list up. We put all those in a PDF format. And one of the big accessibility issues that is those being able to be readable by somebody that may be visually impaired. Revise has now offered a service to incorporate to our website where those PDFs are automatically transformed into a regular format for people to read. I just learned about this within the last day or so. So I've reached out to Revise to see if there's something we need to do on our end or if they need to do on their end to make it accessible, where if we upload documents it turns it into something that is ADA compliant. I also have engaged with Misty Kern at the Secretary of State's office, who is a godsend with the ADA compliance for websites. That is, they've actually had some trainings that I've been able to go to, and I've got a couple other colleagues across the state that have offered their expertise on ADA accessibility. But from what I see on the outset of our website, outside of getting those PDFs accessible with that have our minutes on it, we are very ADA compliant to this point.
Any other questions for Chris? Being none, thank you, Chris, for the update.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Yep.
I emailed them, do you want me to call?
Yeah. We'll go back to the library agreement. She's gonna contact our state's attorney. Rob, we're sort of waiting for you. We started and then questions come up and they said, let's wait till you come up. So
No worries, was down, rang in the boys downstairs.
I saw you down there.
Yeah.
You were in the fun hall.
Love waterboarding.
Yeah.
When Stu gets here, Ernie, I did bring a marked up copy, so you know what got changed from the previous agreement. And then I brought 2 clean ones in case you guys wanna sign today and get that done. I'll have the execute duplicate originals and then I'll get the city to sign both and then we'll circulate going back to you. That's fully executed.
Okay. A time, is everybody thinking of going to convention this year?
Been thinking, I'm not sure.
Jenny, you thinking of going?
Yeah, fine.
Amy? Yeah.
I'm hoping to, it'll depend on harvest.
All depends on what we find out next week in Mayo, but I'm fine with going. You mean it's been like the last one?
Yeah, last for up.
You gonna come?
Yes, that'll be down.
Mr. Chair, I have one thought, if it would be beneficial to have the new proposed funding mechanism change as Exhibit A attached to this agreement. So that going forward, it's together, and that there isn't kind of question on what that, but I know we have the agreement, we just don't. We have like what the old one was, what's proposed, what's going forward, so I'm just saying.
So yesterday I forwarded the last probably one I did for you had an exhibit A attached to it.
Yeah.
And I saw it, I'm just saying to be sure that it is included with the agreement, like the sign going forward. And maybe, I don't know if exhibit A is referenced in the agreement,
It is.
okay, to just be sure.
It is absolutely, and in paragraph 4, in fact, it talks about, how we came up with the numbers, and it says the party shall agree to the budget amount and mill levy obligations for each party to this agreement and shall attach and approve those calculations as exhibit A to this document every year. And what I was trying to do, I guess we can wait for Stu, but
He's in the hall.
okay. Stu or John, again.
There's a chair here, so if you want one. I don't know where.
What I tried to do, Ernie, is I took the old agreement and I highlighted the changes I made. I wanted to keep it fairly simple. What I didn't wanna do was have to change the agreement every single year. So I drafted it in such a way that the agreement will stay the same every year. It's only exhibit A that will change from year to year as valuations change, mill levies change, because there'll be a couple points here or there. You can see if you have a marked up copy in paragraph 1, I just added some language that said the parties met in 26 to talk about a difference in the funding mechanism.
The rest of it on that page didn't change. Then we get down to section 4, and I understand Denny and Greg were at this meeting, so I took your notes and the spreadsheet that I had and tried to accurately lay out what the deal was. Basically, it's anticipated that both parties will provide 50% of the library's budget, and that starts out with that $108,000 per entity. And then we agree that a portion of the 4 mills we could levy is gonna be levied by the county, so you get more bang for your buck. So I laid all of that out. And I specifically say that you guys shall meet annually to determine the mill levy needs, because the budget's obviously gonna go up every year and things will change, the valuations will change. So it won't always be 1.63 mills on the county side. It'll change a little bit here or there. And then at the end of it, the last paragraph, the only other thing I changed in paragraph 6 was that if you guys or the city want to get out of this agreement, it takes a majority vote of the governing body, not the entire county. The old agreement said that in order to get out of this, you had to have a majority vote of the voters. Well, that seems a bit unwieldy, so we changed it to, if you guys want to get out, majority vote. It takes 2 years to get out of it according to the century code, but I changed that language to allow the governing board of the county commission and also the city council to get out of it if we didn't like what was going on. So we made that a lot simpler. Then I attached exhibit A, which is the numbers, and it lays out for 27 what the total needs of the library were. It lays out the 50-50 split, and then how we come to those numbers. And the bottom box, commissioners, is that the county will levy 1.63 mills to get to that 108,780, which is that 50% share. And then the city will be levying 2.37 mills, getting credit for some in-kind stuff. And there's a food that the city's gonna have to pick up too. So I don't know if there's any questions on that, Stu. I'm sure you digested all of that in the span of the 3 hours that you've had, but no, yeah.
There's substance here, so I don't really have much to comment on, so.
So I gave you the marked up copy so you can see what got changed. There's very little. I kind of kept it as close to the original as I could, because if it wasn't broke, I wasn't fixing it. It was just the funding that we wanted to change. Christine?
So a couple questions. On the new agreement, when I'm comparing the new agreement to our past agreement, in the past agreement, it specifically showed that Walsh County was limited to 2.5 mills, City of Grafton limited to 4 mills.
Yeah.
Now when I read the new agreement, it sounds to me like we'll just split it 50-50, whatever the library needs, it's 50-50. Yet City of Grafton is limited to 4 mills. Where does it say what the county is limited to?
So I took out the limitation language, because what we did in the agreement, if you look at exhibit A, which is how they changed it, part of the 4 mills the city could levy is being slid over to the county sites because your mill is worth more than ours. There is no limits anymore. It's just anticipated that, the county will be covering half of the budget, which in this case is 108,761. And then when you look at your budget amount, your 1.63 mills, that gets you to that number. And so that, I expect that to float every year. It may be 1.63 mills, it may be 1.62, 1.64. I left it up to the boards to determine what their mill rate is. So there's no cap anymore. I mean, the century code still caps it. So that hasn't changed, but I just don't reference it, right?
The century code caps the county at 4 mills, our agreement capped us at 2.5 mills.
Right.
I just wanna make sure we're not entering into an agreement where the county share now could actually go up to the 4 mills at some point.
What we did is we gave the county commission and the city the flexibility to come up with whatever bills you guys agree on. So could it go up if the county said, yeah, we'll support more of this? It could go up.
Okay.
I haven't limited that, Christie, because I figured you guys are gonna make, I mean, if you're comfortable with 1.63 mils, great. You know, if the next commission says, well, we can go to 1.8, they need new windows, or whatever that is. I gave you that flexibility. I took the cap out, other than the central.
So do we have the flexibility to go down as well with the 3% cap overall? If we need to go down, do we have that flexibility as well?
Well, again, the way this is written, and I mean, what I understood from the meeting with Denny and Greg and Paul was, right now, the county's is gonna go 50%. And that's what we anticipated is both entities will cover 50% of this library expense. Could you drop that? I suppose, I mean, if we didn't fund the whole thing, I mean, but you're gonna have a shortfall, obviously. But
But say they got funding from elsewhere, say they got donations, the library got donations or something, or they come to us and they say, hey, we just don't need that much money, and they did that one year.
Yeah.
And then they took a lot of heat from some people in the public that they actually were responsible.
Yeah.
And reduced their budget,
Yeah.
and then the next year they came back and wanted it all, because nobody wants to take that heat, right?
so the simple question is, this is based on library's budget that they gave us for this year. That's how we came up with that 217,523. Those are library budget numbers. There's some in-kind income, so basically the library's budget this year was 174,000. They come to you and say, we only need 153,000 this year, then your portion goes down. Absolutely, they've got that flexibility. We're not gonna give them money they don't want. And we're not guaranteeing them money. What it says is, hey, if they only need 150 this year, you know, they got a bequest in somebody's will, and great, you don't need the money, then it helps you guys on your side, it helps us on our side, so.
I'm gonna be honest, it makes me nervous not to have a up to a certain dollar amount, you know, up to,
Okay.
like we had before.
Sure. I guess, I don't know what was anticipated, Danny, I don't know if you can fill us, was there any talk about the cap? Or was it just 50% and we'll
I
just,
don't recall if there was. Any cap on the funding?
No.
They say they wanna build a new building.
well. That's all well and good, but. That doesn't mean you're writing a check.
Well, I know, but if we don't have a cap on it,
But
and they request the whole thing, do we have to pay it?
Century Code does have a cap.
Century Code has,
Yeah.
yeah, for an absolute sure, yeah. There's no
But-
question.
That's up to 4 mils from the
Yeah,
county,
that's a lot of
guys,
money.
we can't afford 4 mils out of the county, we just simply can't, so if we don't put a cap on here, right now it's capped at 2.5 mils. We're opening ourselves up to having future commissioners say, yeah, we'll go up to 4 mil.
Well, that is true. But even if we put a 2.5 mil cap in here. A future commission could come in and say. I want to amend the agreement to go up to 3.5 mils. I mean,
On simple majority vote.
correct, I mean, so this is always amendable by the commission and the council if they choose it, so. I agree that makes you a little uncomfortable, but. A future commission could change everything we've done here today anyway, I don't know how to prevent that. Greg?
In the minutes that I took on it, we used the mill levy that we have now, 2.5%. Or 2.5 mils as a cap in discussion as far as the county was concerned. And we also took into consideration the city could only go to 4 mils maximum. So there was some discussion, and maybe you wanna use that potentially as our cap now.
It matters little to me, like I said, it can be changed by the next commission by a majority vote, we can leave it how it is, or they can put a cap in if they're, I mean, whatever you wanna do, I wrote it based on the notes I had, if you wanna add stuff to it, I don't.
So as for now, like you said, Greg, you agreed to the 2.5 and the 4. We could put that as a cap, and in future years, if the commission wants to change it or the city, they can do it. Right?
Yeah, you can put anything you want, right?
Well, my thing is, excuse me, Mr. Chairman. If we put in the 2.5 mils, we know that we have a push from some people in the public that say, you have to give that 2.5 mils. We don't have to give that 2.5 mils.
No. You just do a cap with that,
The cap would be different than what the current contract says.
So we'd say up to,
up to.
we can provide up to 2.5 mils, but that's where it ends.
And we would review that every year.
Yeah.
I would be more comfortable with
I
cap.
don't like tying future boards' hands. What happens if something happens and they need a little more money because something weird happened? You know, we can cap it, but then they still got the obligation or the right to change it if they need to. Yeah.
Sure, I mean, just like we're amending this agreement now, the next commission can come in and say, that was stupid, we wanna leave it at century code cap, and then they can, I mean, so you're. You know, or if, I guess it became an issue in the future, they could put a cap back in, knowing that it could be changed again, I mean, it's,
Well, I mean, I guess if we start doing like we're supposed to do, the library board was supposed to be coming to us annually, we were supposed to be reviewing this agreement. Honestly, until we started digging into it, we hadn't heard anything from the library board.
Right.
About this agreement, so I guess if we go forward in the future and we actually do it the way we're supposed to and start reviewing it annually, maybe we will be in a better spot. But
And I don't know that,
this sat stagnant for way too many years.
sure, and I don't know that, but what the agreement is you're gonna have to look at it every year, because every year the bill numbers are gonna change. Because maybe this year, like I said, the library budget was 174, 523. Plus the in-kind, maybe next year they'll be at 154 or 184, you'll have to adjust that little bit, you know, on your bills, so you're gonna have to look at it every year no matter what now.
So, do you wanna change that agreement to put the caps in there then?
I believe we should have a cap, that's my thought.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there any other, I would say, discussion on the agreement?
I have another. On the agreement, in here, I noticed that it said on the exhibit A. I just have to find it. Okay, on the third page of exhibit A. Under the box that says Grafton included in Walsh County funding, over to the far right, it says City of Grafton levies an additional 2 mills. Am I understanding that right? Because you can only go up to the 4 mills, correct?
I don't know where you're at,
Okay, third page of exhibit A.
I only have one page exhibit A, so.
I think there's only one that's in shape, not how it is.
Oh, maybe mine just printed differently. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Maybe mine printed differently.
I think this document came from I'm sorry, I think this document came from Wanda and he may or may not have it.
Okay,
But. I think what this means is that the city is gonna participate in this scenario in the 1.8 mils that the county levies.
mhm,
And then they will levy the 2.2 mils on their own. So the city will continue to levy 4 total mils. But they're participating in whatever levy the county does. And they're gonna levy the difference up to 4.
so they have not been letting the whole 4 mills.
They have, yeah.
we have,
They have that. So where's the additional money coming from, guys? Explain that to me.
okay, it's simple.
Okay,
So,
good, I like simple.
so the city has been levying 4 mills for the library,
Mhm.
but our mill value is much less than the county. So we're gonna go down to 2.37 mills, and we're gonna allow you to levy some of our 4 mills. And it's not double taxed because we're not levying that in the city of Grafton,
Oh,
but you're going to get a higher mill rate, so. We're sliding basically from our side to yours, we're still staying under that 4 mil cap on the city, but we're allowing you to levy some of it on the county side because it's worth more money.
right, so they are not, the city of Grafton residents then, they are not having more mills levied, but the value of their mills. Of the 2 mills or whatever is going to be substantially higher, so in the end, they are going to pay more.
No, the 4 mills is the 4 mills. I mean,
4 mills at 11,000, is that what your value is?
well, I don't know what our city value is.
12,000, okay, 4 mills at 12,000?
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're letting you have, city's gonna pay the same 4 mills.
so where's the additional money coming
Well,
from?
in the end, there's that $36,000 shortfall and the city's going to make that up as well.
36,425.
Which isn't property tax. They're gonna make that up on their own, in their own way. I don't know where that money's coming from. But it can't be a property tax because they've already levied before. So where they're gonna get that money, I don't know.
Yeah, it's worth it,
That's
that's
their
to have a library, so they're going to come up with 36,000 out of their general fund or wherever it's gonna come from to support
Is that stated in the agreement?
it. Yeah, it's right, if you look at my exhibit A.
Mhm, yeah.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Yeah, the in-kind is there and then the gap to be picked up by the cities. Okay, so are we changing to put the caps back in? I didn't catch the.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Should we make a motion on that?
Well, is there anything else in the agreement?
I'm gonna look through my notes. No, I believe that's all I have.
So do I have a motion that we put the caps back in the agreement?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair, so are we proceeding with making a motion to adopt the new agreement with said changes?
Mr. Chair, I feel that our state's attorney, our interim state's attorney should have time to review it first, is my only concern, before we adopt an agreement for the county. I mean, I'm not an attorney, so.
That's a reasonable request. I'm just wondering if we could adopt it. Pending his approval, so that we can act on it today. If he has any issues, we can come back to it, but if he just comfortable with the document.
Yeah,
I need to review this.
Just an idea, I don't.
Christie?
So the filing deadline for the ballot is August 31st.
This is just the.
Do you need? If you're going to make a motion to put a measure on the ballot or approve ballot language, it has to be done by August 31st. So if the agreement doesn't get approved,
Then will we go back to the old agreement? I mean, theoretically, we're bound for 2 years whether we proceed or not. So if we don't approve the new agreement, we're now still just gonna continue with what the old agreement says. Would that not be correct?
We still have a motion. Put it on the ballot.
Correct, that we will vote on, but I'm saying when it comes to the agreement, these are two separate issues.
Right, but we have a motion on the floor right now. About the mill caps,
In the agreement,
right, you wanna.
I think we should vote on that and
And then move on, yeah.
any other discussion? So we got a motion to add the caps to the agreement. Paul,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Kenny,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes,
myself, yes.
Mr. Chair, does this need to come back then before we agree to go forward with the new agreement? Or are we stating that was part of why we had discussion on this?
How much time do you need?
I'll try to get it done, but then all I can say is it's we act up there right now.
Mr. Chairman, what I would suggest is that you make a motion to approve this agreement with the addition of the caps, subject to Mr. Askew's approval. That way, if you have an issue and you send an email that says, I don't like it,
And I just send a note otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, that's fine with me.
Everybody okay with that? Okay, got it.
Well, I'm gonna say my concern with that is, I think where my comfort level is. I wanna know, before I vote, if we're going to rescind our vote to put this on the ballot. I wanna know if we have a good agreement in place, so how do we rectify that? That's my concern. Because we're going to vote on that today, right? If we're going to rescind the vote for the ballot. What if Stuart comes back, Mr. Askew comes back and says, yeah, this agreement is, we've got some issues here, then what do we do? I feel like we're putting the cart before the horse.
Have to have a special meeting, imagine if you're gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, I would be okay with that then, if you guys would agree to a special meeting.
I think. I think we could do the same thing with the motion to rescind, and if he doesn't agree with something.
Then we don't need a special meeting.
If he agrees with the document, then we're good. If he doesn't, if there's something in there he doesn't like, then we would have to have a special meeting.
Yeah.
But the motion to rescind could be contingent on his review, just like the motion to adopt.
I would like to see something done already. We've been hashing this way too long already. Let's move forward, so.
so motion to approve agreement with the amendment of the budget caps pending the state's interim state
Approval.
attorney's approval. So somebody needs.
So moved.
Second.
Second. So we got a motion on the floor that we move forward with the state's attorney approval on the library agreement. All those in favor, Amy,
Yes.
Danny, yes, Paul,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes,
myself, yes. So back to the other one, notice of a motion being made to rescind prior motion was made. Put on November 18th to 25 to put the library agreement in the general election ballot.
So there, I will make that motion contingent on interim state's attorney's approval.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Have discussion,
Yeah,
I'd like to make a statement. I'd like to describe how we got to this point. When Commissioner Britnell suggested the commission review the library agreement to address which she perceived as inequities. She was told by Commissioner Hodak that the agreement was the agreement. Commissioner Suda agreed. I mentioned that we let the people decide, included on the November ballot. The motion passed 3-2. Commissioner Hodak and Suda against. At a later meeting, after discussion, it was decided to negotiate the agreement instead of letting the people decide. The committee was formed by myself, Commissioner Suda, representatives from the county, Greg Young, and Brad Burianic representing the city. When the meeting was held at City Hall, the very first statement made by Commissioner Suda stated that the line in Walsh County is Highway 18. Councilman Young and Burianic agreed that the majority of the money in this county is raised east of 18. Commissioner Suda also stated that anyone west of 18 paid only $2 per household for the library. The second point brought forward by Councilman Young, that voicing your opinion about this matter to the county commissioner held no weight whatsoever and would not be given any consideration at all going forward. Again, leaving no opportunity for discussion. He then proceeded to discuss the two proposals to adjust the taxing difference between the city and the county. Essentially doubling the city taxes levied towards the library and lowering the counties. Perhaps how we'd inform the citizens of Grafton if they would accept this proposal. He stated that the city councilman would get the word out and the council would make an informed decision after citizen input. Evidently voicing your opinion to a city council member east of 18 is acceptable, but voicing your opinion to a commissioner west of 18 is not. The very points that we sought to address at an earlier meeting are now being addressed by Commissioner Suda and Hoda. But because we attempted to address this library agreement, we were vilified online by Cheryl Osowski, Mitch Sanderson, and others. Corrupt bastards, we were called. All because we chose to look at this from a county-wide perspective. Commissioner Suda has also reminded me twice in this process of discussing that I'm not looking at the county as a whole. Evidently, because I don't share her idea that the county is divided at 18. We were elected to represent everyone in the county, whether living east or west of 18. It is evident by the changes that were suggested that Commissioner Britnell, Barta, and myself did correctly identify the inequities. Only when it was voted to put the topic on the ballot did the negotiation take place. I have always heard that this county is divided at 18, but chose to ignore it. I base my decisions on merit and not location. It was so painfully obvious when Commissioner Suda stated at the first negotiations in July that not everyone in the county looks at this as a whole. I feel this has brought unnecessary tension, not only to the commission, but the citizens of Walsh County. I yield back.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, I would like to state that that is inadequate and not correct. I brought data to be able to show what could be, and I stated that specifically on what a city resident of Langdon could be, not what they were, but what they could be paying comparatively to what a resident who owns property in Eastern Walsh County could be paying. There was never a point to say with absolute that that's what it was. That's reality. Whether you want it or not.
You said.
I did not, I would never say that. I represent this entire county. I did not, would never say that because I don't believe that. I represent someone from Fordville, no,
Hey, you guys, let's keep this
I do
going.
not. That's a lie.
Mr. Chairman, I read some minutes from that meeting, being he brought me into the discussion here. This was our meeting minutes that I submitted to everybody and they agreed to them. Skorheim spoke about a poll he was conducting, asking the question to have the vote on the November 26th ballot to remove Walsh County collecting the funds of 2.5 mil pursuant to North Dakota Century Code 403802 for the library. The city of Grafton is limited to 4 million. Young stated that if a city or county resident presented a valid petition to a board, he as a board member wouldn't take that merit over taking any consideration of doing independent poll. That was my discussion that I pursued on that matter. That I didn't take weight on a commissioner or anybody taking a poll independently and not sharing those results with anybody else as to who the poll members were or the questions. Well, I'd like to just clarify that.
Well, that's, I'll tell you what, we've had enough discussion on. Chrissy,
Well, since I started this whole big mess, apparently, I just want to address the audience. I don't think any of us, I know, we weren't against giving funding to the library. It's not that we don't support the library, we do support the library. The problem is we had an ancient agreement that had not been looked at for years and it needed to be updated. When I was chairman, I brought it to the board and I did say that I feel that we need to match Century Code. That in Century Code, it does state that the vote can be by the simple majority vote of the governing board instead of it having to go to the voters. So I asked to update it to match that, to match Century Code. I also asked to update it to be more equitable amongst the taxpayers. As Denny stated, Commissioner Hudak and Commissioner Sudo were against that. So that conversation went to, let's put it to a vote of the people then. I guess we'll let the people vote. But since then, Commissioner Suda did come back and ask if we can negotiate. Now, I think we've gotten to the point where we wanted to be, right? We're finally at the point where we are getting it updated. We're getting the agreement updated to a vote of the governing board as it should be. We are getting the financials are more equitable now. So I think we're at the point where we want to be, but somehow throughout all of this, it got turned on Denny and myself and sometimes even Ernie that we were against the library and we did not want to fund the library. That was never the case. You have to remember when we look at funding, we have to look at funding from the county as a whole and all the taxpayers' money. We're trying to be careful with your funds. And if we put all the funding towards the library, there's not much left then sometimes for the other discretionary funds, so we have to cut them even further. So it was just to give us a tool to be more fair with the funding across all the discretionary funds. I think we've gotten to that point today. It's sad that it took this much fighting to get to this point, but we are here. So I think we can finally move forward.
and I was gonna add to that discussion, ever since this started, when we first took the vote, I voted that we have a, ballot. And I wasn't aware that the whole county was gonna vote, and I voiced my opinions and talked to Kelly, and I was not aware of it. And now that we've had the agreement, the city met with us, and in good faith, we've got a good agreement, I think, moving forward. I just think it's time to settle this thing, quit the bickering, and let's move forward. So that's all I'm gonna say. I've questioned everybody, no matter what meeting, DOT meetings, whatever people were there, and I questioned both sides of the county. Both sides, people were for it, people were against it. So that tells me something else. So now what I'd like to do is to move forward with the motion that we have here to rescind the prior motion on the November ballot. So do I have a motion? Yeah, great. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so let's move, what?
I think we already had that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Amy made the motion and Christie seconded.
To move forward with the,
Rescinding.
Sending, yeah.
rescind,
Provided.
right, the state's attorney.
Yeah.
is okay with it.
Mhm.
So let's vote on that motion. Let's get this done already. Denny,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes,
Ernie, yes, motion carries. I hope we can move forward and this is, it just tearing me apart to see the county east and west not get along. Boss County is Boss County. There ain't a Grafton, there ain't a west, there ain't a east. You all gotta get along and you always think about and do what's good for the county. At least I did as a commission. I've always based myself on, what's, when I make a decision, it's what's good for the county. Sometimes people don't like it. I'll take the heat. So that's just my questions. Cheryl, you don't have a comment card. And you're not on the agenda with these, the board
There
members.
was Mr. Young and he got to address.
Mr. Young is part of the board that did the discussion.
I just want to clarify, I never once called Mr. Skorheim.
Well,
a
whatever.
bad name.
Okay, we're done. We made the motion, whatever. I don't wanna hear he said, she said, or whatever. So as of now, we're moving forward. It won't be on the ballot. There is approval and good debate. Okay with that?
Changes made, Ernie, and get them, I gotta go to Devil's Lake when I'm done here, so probably tomorrow I'll get it to Mr. Askew, just put the caps back in and then.
That's the only change that's
Yeah.
made.
Yeah.
And then all I could say is let's start getting along as a county. Get sick.
Okay.
So, thank you. We'll take a break. You wanna take a break?
Wait, let me put up.
And now I lost my agenda. There we go. Yeah, so. Jason, you're up.
Morning, Jason.
One thing that's not on my agenda pack, you need to add for it, just, we're having a lot of problems at Hami with our door handles. There's money in my budget for me to replace our 2 walk doors into it, so we can change it out to a pole style handle, so we don't have to keep the bathroom door handles, yeah. The main entrance doors, we've replaced the locks, and the door handles on them. 3 times in the last 3 years, the women's bathroom one was busted off again this last week. Those can't be repaired, instead of replacing those at $400 every time, because they're a commercial setup. I'd rather just replace the doors onto both of those bathrooms and change it to, it's only a deadbolt and you're pulling on a pull handle and that's it, like the other bathrooms. We have the budget for it. I'd rather get that done now, at least get it going so that by next year, we don't have to worry about that problem anymore. You watch through the deadbolts, that's it, and then just be done, but I wanted to get permission for that because those are commercial doors. And they're gonna be over the allotments for me just to do it, so
Do you have a price?
I don't have a price yet. But I'm guessing it'll probably be for the replacement of it being there in brick. The whole thing will probably be about a $5,000 project. So, but we have the funding to do that, right? So.
I would make a motion that we allow Jason to replace the doors as long as it does not exceed 5,000. If it exceeds that, we can bring it back to us.
Have a second?
Well, second.
Any other discussion? Motion in a second that we replace the doors on the bathrooms at Omni Dam, as long as it doesn't exceed $5,000, all those in favor? Misty?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Danny? Yes. Amy?
Yes.
Myself, motion carried.
Thank you. Next item is just bringing back to you, about the bridge naming criteria that we had spoken about from our last request, for naming a bridge. I reached out to the Grand Forks District, talked with Ed and Jason Peterson. They got me in touch with Craig Paul out of Bismarck, and then led me to speaking with Jim Nelson, who does most of the legislative side. State really doesn't have any protocols for it. It comes from a legislative processes. Jim Nelson does the investigations for everybody to see what they are. And they basically use military type things. So it's veterans from any war killed in action. You pretty much are guaranteed POW, you're pretty much a guarantee. A Medal of Honor, you're pretty much a guarantee. And then if you have medals or certifications, that will go in your favor too. Most of the people that go through the legislative process have been passed away. They were happy to hear that the counties are starting to get in on this aspect of it too, in honoring veterans by this aspect of doing these things. And then they were talking about it for asking if the people that get the bridges nominated and that their families have to pay for them. I said, no, they don't. If it goes through the process, we don't make the families pay for the signage. With that being said, there's no real criteria. We can set up whatever type of a criteria for naming a bridge we want. So I don't know what type of. It's pretty much up to the commissioners to decide if how you want to go forward at this point. There's nothing written in the stone.
Any
The legislature specifically said veterans though,
on their state highways?
on their state highway,
The state highway one's
but
better.
we've got to open whatever we want there.
And maybe, looking forward, maybe we should have some, maybe criteria they got, but I always think that can be on an individual basis too. It's to me, the commission's judgment or what you would in the highway department that, does this really deserve being a bridge named after him? Each case is gonna be a little different, so how do you really set the criteria? That's, I guess, Paul?
I agree, it's difficult to set the criteria, but the problem is if you don't have criteria, how do you say no?
Right,
That's my concern. Because sooner or later,
yep,
somebody's gonna come here with something that we're uncomfortable with, and if you don't have criteria.
is it something that we wanna think about, and maybe bring back to another meeting?
Yeah,
Mr. Chair, I mean, I think maybe it's something Jason can start with where they're the kind of easy yeses for us, you know, if we want to consider veterans or like follow what the state has done that way, and then we could put it. Leave it at that and then just put other cases at the discretion of the commission, I mean, even just as a starting point. Because I agree, you know, sometimes when it's a bridge and there may be someone that is personal to that bridge, that can influence our decision, you know, and this is. Their family or that area, that would be probably more likely they want that there than. State and highways and stuff is a little harder because it's just wherever, rather they need a sign, but. My thought is starting with kind of a base and then going off of that, or maybe relooking at it next meeting or meeting after.
I started this and went over this and then everything, and I myself, I don't know if we wanna go to roads. And name them like the state does. I know if it ever comes 12B, I name after Christie. But it is, I mean, how much do you wanna get into? Me, it's, we've got a lot of people that maybe qualify for it and could be honored. And I really, I look at veterans and other things that we've done, I really think it's appropriate. And maybe we should do it, but yeah, maybe if you just, like you said, the smaller criteria, the top 4 or 5 bullet points that, you know what, you gotta do this, you might have to be that and anyway. Then you still can bring it to us, go vote, or I won't be here, but, so.
Yeah. As far as I'm aware, there's really only 3 bridges at this point in time that we have. We have one for, Sankey for,
Bear down,
yeah, and then Meridan, and then there's one other one that it was named after, is in that same area. It was named after people that worked with the egress in the areas for it, for the properties for right away. They got that one, so.
Well, we have a dam named after a commissioner.
what's that?
We have a dam named after a commissioner.
Yeah,
Mr. Chair, isn't there one north? Going north of town, was that the trail?
That's state.
That's
yeah,
that's Karen's.
I
You don't
feel
get
like-
named those.
The idea where you have, if people are asking, we have something.
yeah.
Right now, even if it's just that we're.
The Nald one, that was a veteran,
Even if it's just a couple of guidelines or
Yeah.
bullet points, these are the kind of things we would consider.
you wanna set something up, Jason, and just bring it back for approval? I think it'd be a good idea. Okay,
Mr. Chair, I would say if it goes outside of those bullet points, then maybe you give a section they can state.
And
the case.
other,
yeah,
they can,
other, and then it's by review of the commission and the highway department.
Yeah.
I think you should be included in when we approve something too, the highway department. You're familiar to the area and the people and everything else, so.
I will, we should start working on some sort of policy for that. And
Can we skip the next bridge closure one?
I'd love to, but we did have one go down, it was in Vernon Township, there's actually 2 in that area. That one to get access is a trail on the other side. We've had it on our watch list since I started, because it's also on our scours list. So we're trying to see if we can get it turned into a culvert, but it'll be a while before that. Right now, we're doing a high level, hydraulics on it to see what we can do to reopen it back up. Just so everyone's aware, a high level hydraulics is not having to do back to it and get it down into the weeds to see all the criteria is. When something comes up with it, then we'll have to deep dive into it. But a hydraulic for this type of thing, you're looking at anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. And that's the starting point for these hydraulics to make sure we get our siding things properly. This is the one in Vernon Township. It's a mile north of the junction of 32 and 72.
Yeah, okay, I know where you're at.
So when we go through it, does the township pay anything on the study?
Normally, the townships don't pay anything on that. I know that the township, from talking to a couple of people in the township, they are open to working with us for something in the future for culverts and different things. They have other things they're working through in the area as well, so right away type stuff, but if they know that we're in a process of looking, but they may be able to or willing to give a cost share for it.
Well, my concern is on the county level, and I know townships don't have a lot of money, but what happens if this thing starts getting and everybody wants the county to do a study? Where do we come up with the 15 to 5 to 50,000 every time somebody wants a water study?
We'll be running out of fast.
Yeah. So I think we gotta step easily. You know,
The only reason we're really working on this one and pushing it to the top of the list for hydraulics is because of the scour report. Every time, even though that bridge is closed, every time that we have a national flood advisory, we have to go and inspect that bridge on a daily basis during that flood advisory while it's going on. And then afterwards, the state has to inspect the inspectors within a month. So every time that happens, that we get those National Weather Service advisories for flood inspections, we have to go inspect a bunch of bridges on a daily basis. And then pay for a bridge inspection afterwards. It's a federal mandate. There's nothing the state can do about it. It's just one of those things that we're supposed to be doing for a while and hadn't been. And the state got their hands slapped because we hadn't been doing
and
those.
that's the scholars.
That's the scholars report. So in order to get away from having to do these inspections and pay for those inspections, and if we have a lot of rain events and you get those flash flood advisories, you need to do an inspection. So with those, some of these we could be inspecting multiple times a year.
I don't know if I wanna bring this up, but wasn't that part of the one where you're supposed to paint the bridges too? Or what am I thinking?
No, some of them are coming to the point where our bridge inspections are saying that there's a lot of rust on them, so they're looking for us to paint them.
I don't work good on the park river when the ice beats them up every spring.
Yeah.
Mr. Garrett.
Yeah.
The Texas crossing in Golden Township, has that been repaired?
No, in Golden, no, that's that one that Ellingson, I just drove across that.
Yeah.
That one has not been repaired.
Are they inspecting that?
They don't inspect that, I inspect that, because it's not a bridge site anymore. The culverts that are in there are small enough and they're spaced far apart enough that it's not. If it was, we could have a different issue. I just looked at it last night and it's in very tough shape.
Yeah.
I don't know how many more high water events that one has going through it. So that one. May have to put on a list to have it taken care of sooner than later. The problem, what I'm foreseeing for that one, for what was going in, is kind of what we're doing for that FEMA bridge that should be wrapped up in the next couple of weeks, but hopefully by September 1, we'll be able to open that up. Is a box culvert with concrete overflows and everything else, and we're looking at 600,000.
That's a big watershed.
It is, it's everything that falls into Hami, so to do that, I think we'll be looking at all of 600,000 to do that. But it's gonna have to get higher, moved up on the list from what I saw last night. I was there about 5:30 or 6 o'clock last night when I was stopped to look at it, and you can definitely see the sedimentation that's coming in from underneath it and being pushed out.
I looked at it too.
None of the three culverts actually, there's 3 culverts underneath it, and only one of them actually transfers the water all the way through. The rest of them are rusted out or gone, so all the water goes down through the bottom and comes out. So there's water that comes out of that crossing in 3 places where it's not supposed to. And at high flow, so.
That's a good example of what happens when you cross one of these old pony bridges with an overweight vehicle. The guy caved it in.
I think you better start making your list out for Santa.
We have, the list is always moving and always adjusting, so the list is getting. It's getting bad.
It's a moving target.
It's always a moving target.
Yeah.
Every week, every time I get a phone call from an inspector, I feel like it's a moving target. There's some of them that, like we've said in the past, it's just, they may not come back. I know Prairie Center called me about the one by Bestonville, worrying about putting that into a Texas crossing and just dropping. The thing is, that one's so entrenched. I don't see that one going. I have to talk with them and to see if they wanna pay for the hydraulics for it. But to make that Texas crossing for as drop as it is, I honestly don't see, I see that having to be more like what we're doing at this FEMA one that washed out. I know they're saying that they have one that's just upstream from it, where it's a Texas crossing, but that one doesn't have the sharp banks or anything where they're gonna drill through. So you're gonna have to do a lot of shaping, any high water event, you're gonna have to have the whole thing rocked out, so the water will just get in, swirl and wash things out. So, it's
A lot of water that goes through there.
Mhm. So that's a conversation we'll have to have with them, to see where they wanna go with those things, but. So I know that they're looking for stuff, some of them we're just not gonna be able to move them back, so. even for Texas crossings, when we're looking at things at $500,000-600,000 in culverts, and it's just, it's not such a liability issue that. Yeah, so that's my portions on bridges. And for the closure, that's just that one. Project updates, the Minto Bridge, as everyone is open. It is functioning, it is ready to go, and, we're working on, they're finalizing some things out, but the state DOT helped us open that up. With a couple of calls, just because it's harvest, and seeing what we've done, we're waiting for the final load restrictions, if there will be anything put to it. That'll be in the works, but as of right now, we're good to go with that one. The Hagen Bridge is coming closer to the end, all 3 boxes are set for the 12s. They're working on backfill and concrete for the joints. Hopefully by end September, that one will be up, it's just on concrete. The FEMA Bridge, is that Texas crossing, there's gonna be 2 pours this week, 1 next. Then we'll have to wait for Kears, and then that one will be able to be opened up. That one we won't have to wait for a state inspection because we've made it smaller than 20 feet, so it'll no longer be on the inspection list as well. So that's one of the benefits for that one. And then we're doing rejuvenation right now on 15A, the Minto. The chip seal should be this week on 12A, going into Peasic. Hopefully they're gonna start Wednesday or Thursday. I only anticipate that being a half a day project for them to do with Aztec. And the striping will start this week on number 9 and number 4 from basically 18 east. So that's, we got all those things going. Our guys finished working on ripping apart another bridge, replacing the bridge caps on it that were rotting out over by Lincoln, and we're changing everything up to try and get some asphalt patches done before we get too far into the harvest and different things. Knife River still has an asphalt plant around, and we'll have to do some repairs out on number 9. Somebody had a piece of equipment drop, and they drug it for 1.5 miles on the road.
Yeah.
16 and 9. They dropped a piece of equipment down and drug it right down the road, rubbed up some of the asphalt and pavement. Then pulled off into the ditch and made marks through there, so we'll have to be out there with you, it should be part of it, and a lot of it's gonna have to be a skin patch. One of it was it was part of one of our patch sites, and they ripped that up, so it's gonna be about a 30, well, the whole width wide and 100 feet long to rip it out and do rip some stuff up and put a skin patch over the top of it.
Mr. Chair, is that at the responsibility of the taxpayers? Is that not the responsibility of whoever dropped their equipment? I mean, I'm not saying it was on purpose, but
They come through or come forward with it.
do we know who it was?
There's been a name brought, but there's no way to prove it. It's the same thing we had with the bridge.
Well, could we reach out to them and contact them, and maybe we could go through their insurance? I mean, maybe they'd be willing to work with us on it. I don't feel that should be the taxpayer's responsibility.
I don't either, but like, without being able to prove that it was them, we can't even follow it to a field to see where they went to.
But if we've been provided a name, could we at the very least just reach out to them and say, we understand, you know, maybe they'll say, yes, it was me, yes,
You're walking touchy ground, you're accusing them.
Yeah.
well, you can just ask. Can't we ask? Was it you? To me, it doesn't hurt to ask, and if they refuse, well, they refuse, but there are good people out there who would say.
If they were good people, they would have called us.
Okay,
That's the way I like it. And it's just, I get where you're going, Christie, but.
yeah,
Times have changed, and nobody wants to fess up or own up to their fault.
well, say it was a farmer, and I'm not saying it was a farmer, it could be anybody, but if it was a farmer, wouldn't they have like insurance that would help
Yeah.
cover that?
How many bridges we've got wrecked in the last side rails and everything in the last.
Deductible.
Yeah.
Well, that's.
Well, we could cover their deductible.
Bridge south of Fairdale, they started on that.
No, that'll be maybe probably a mid to later September, when the bosses are coming, unless things get sped up. The contractors that are doing that project are the ones that are on the Hagen Bridge right now. They have a deadline with another bridge that they have to go, they'll be pulling out to do that, but we won't be starting that one yet. It'll probably be a September. In September, mid to late September before they get to that one. So it's not great for beans, the only good news is that'll be, should be it, when the credit comes in. I don't expect that project to last longer than 2 weeks, so. But for the boxes themselves, we're behind on the schedule on that, so.
Anything else for Jason?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That fair, that hole was up by the wash.
Yeah, I went and looked and I have to do something else with that, so it'll be, the only thing I see is underneath the one wall. That's what is on the south wall, where some dirt to bring in, or some pipe for stuff, so. We'll be going over there and help us on other things, so one of these days I'll get over there with Dave and see what we can do with that.
What that?
I got another,
Okay.
that four-wheeler with a sprayer under that, did that get, what do we do with that?
It's gonna get moved to the north lot. For now,
Sell it?
sell it, we have people, I have guys that thought that at one point in time, the highway department owned part of it, I haven't found anything yet on that, to see if we did. But they thought that between emergency management or weeds and the highway department, we both own that, kind of like the four-wheeler with us and the fair and over in Park River. That was a joint thing, but I haven't found anything yet saying that we did own part of that. But it'd always be nice to have something like that, so we could go and do some things with it, so. If they wanted to, depending on what we're looking at and things that. I'd be willing to purchase it from the weed board, so we would have it for use for the highway department.
The highway department.
Mhm.
Is it a, Mr. Chair, is it a sprayer? What are we talking about?
It's a four-wheeler with a sprayer that puts on the back for spraying, so if we use it for weeds on our lots, we use it for weeds on bridges and different things like
Would
that.
you use it for weeds at home?
Use it for weeds at Omni, if as long as it's certified person and bill them out, yep. Yep.
Because we do need some.
Oh, Tim found it, you can deal with it.
Yeah.
You found it, you can deal with it. We didn't know it was there till they opened the trailer up.
I knew it was in there, but. When you guys said that the fire chiefs can have their trailer back, now we gotta get the trailer empty where they can have it.
Okay. Thank you, Jason. You're up.
Okay, page 5 of the agenda packet is the township road certification for the mileage in each township. So I just need a motion to approve it.
I'll give you a hint, if you make it any smaller, I ain't gonna.
This was the form sent by.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the township road certification?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor of approving the township road certification signify by saying yes. Any?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Christie?
Yeah,
Amy?
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carries. Warrant for quarter fifth.
Okay, and then starting on page 7 is the MB Fit insurance, health insurance renewal. We did discuss this last commission meeting. And so we met as a insurance committee and reviewed the options, and we decided to recommend renewing as is the plan.
I was on the sense. We can only have one commissioner on committee now, so I don't know if you were contacted. When it was set up.
I was at the last one, that's all I'm saying.
I can go look at that.
So
And as is a 7.76% increase, so.
Yes,
you wanna make a motion then?
Yeah, I would make a motion that we would accept the ND Fit plan at a 7.76% increase.
Do I have a second?
I would second it.
Yeah.
Question.
Do I have a discussion?
So what was plugged into the budget? Was it something more than 7?
I think we're 10 or 11, we're.
yeah,
10.
110,
Okay.
yeah, so we're within budget numbers. For the renewal.
And isn't it sad that you have to estimate a 10% increase I mean, luckily we came in under that. Next year, we could easily come in or be over it.
Next year, they'll be back to the 13s and 15s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary.
So we got a motion and a second that we approve the ND fit renewal at 7.76%. All those in favor, Amy,
Yes.
Misty,
Yes.
Paul,
Yeah.
Danny, myself, yes, motion carries. I think this is you, Danny, isn't it? NDSU extension agent?
Yeah.
I will put the motion in your drawer.
You got that?
Yeah.
Move that the Walsh County Commissioners formally acknowledge the resignation of outgoing NDSU Extension Agent Katie Thompson and approve the appointment of Bailey Schroeder as a departmental county coordinator / department head for NDSU Extension.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Mr. Chair, so Katie was an extension agent? I was thinking that was Bailey,
They both were.
so they were both considered.
See, now they're changing it, so are they telling us that they're not gonna further?
No, they are actively pursuing and, you know.
So that person will be an agent then? Okay,
Or an assistant.
or assistant, I don't know what.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be more an assistant if they're
Yeah.
making her the coordinator, like the
Yeah.
top person, but I don't know.
I believe you're right.
So they're kind of reformulating Bailey's job description is essentially.
Yeah.
And really, we don't have much.
No,
Usually that, right, so. Any other questions? Got a motion in a second? All those in favor, Danny,
Yes.
Amy,
yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
myself, yes, motion carries. Mr. Newman.
Good morning.
One point on that.
Okay,
They also asked that we formally support NDSU in replacing Katie's position. Just recognize that we
Yeah.
support them as well.
down we support him.
I hope I got that.
Yeah,
Good morning. So you should have a quote from Stone's Radio. This is for the patch that I told you about a few weeks ago. This will take our,
Did you send that
I did,
to Jaren or?
yeah. And if you want to pass it around, that's fine, I didn't make more copies, but here you go. It's $4,553. It's radio stuff. It will go in our back room to patch the siren paging talk group to our non-siren VHF paging frequency that we currently work on. And one of the biggest reasons for that is that with the siren system, you can have non-siren frequencies in your radio, but you can't scan siren frequencies or scan siren phone groups and non-siren frequencies. It messes with the system and it just doesn't work. This hard patch will be a permanent thing up until the point where we do away with VHF completely, which will probably be a long time because VHF pagers themselves are $800 to $900 a piece for, you know, a 2x3 little box that nobody wants to carry anymore anyway. Basically, I'm just asking for approval to pay out of 911 funds for that $12,553 for that patch.
any other questions?
Is there any annual fee with this or just a one-time payment?
One-time payment is, it's hardware.
And can I ask, who carries pagers? I mean,
The ambulances and the fire department mostly, the ones that have to, but the law enforcement scans that frequency in their radios where they know when a fire or EMS call goes out. And so, if we don't have this, then they're in the dark.
Okay, so it's that, because most of our first responders are using the one with I am responding now, right? When you
Yes.
say, okay, I was
And
just wondering if they.
we had a huge problem with I am responding this weekend.
Oh.
For some reason, our system stopped sending I am responding calls on Saturday. I was down in Fargo on Saturday, and so I was getting phone calls and texts and like, this thing's not working, help, 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 and so, I called back and they said, well, Crystal's here, she's working on it. But nothing got solved, it resolved itself sometime Sunday. Exactly, and so we called all the companies and, you know, everybody's saying, well, it wasn't us, it was them. Oh, it was them, so you never have, I mean, with this. Even though they don't like to carry them, at least they could go back to carrying them and we could send out a message, a text message and say, I am responding is down, you need to go turn on your pager, hopefully it's charged, because. You're right, nobody carries them.
The bill is 12,553. I thought you had said 4,000.
Yeah.
I thought so
I
too.
did too.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I thought- I
You
thought I
got four,
said
hey, you got four of us that said you did.
that. Well, you look at the radio itself, it's almost.
Yeah, that's what we got.
It's the labor at shipping.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
So-
shipping them.
yeah. We got a motion in a second that we move forward with this hard patch.
Hey, look, I'm
I don't
responding.
have an issue, or nobody makes.
It's working. I'll make a motion.
Oh, sure.
We don't have a motion.
Okay, I got a motion that we move forward with the hard patch. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any other questions? All those in favor that we give the approval for Kim, the approval of the hard patch, signify by saying yes. Missy,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Danny, yes, myself, yes, motion carries.
I got a couple of things that I wanted to bring up that's not on the agenda. You should have gotten a calendar invite for the tabletop exercise, August 24th. So I just wanted to put that back out there. That's 8 to 12. That does not require us to shut down business or anything, because only a few people are going to attend that. However, a few weeks ago, I also brought up possibly doing an active shooter class. And you guys discussed it, I think it was a during budget meeting when I brought it up, but, the person that was going to have to, instruct that, from the cybersecurity infrastructure and security agency, federal agency, he's got, availability set, in the week of September 21st through the 25th. So, and you guys had said that possibly that you'd wanna close for business for a half a day or so to get that done. So, I'm basically leaving it up to you, what day of that week, or do you want me to just see when he's available and then bring it back to you? Or just approve that whatever day he says it's good,
Yeah,
that is.
make it easy, just whatever he can do it.
That morning or something. That good for you? You need a motion or anything?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Oh, one question, Jim.
Yes.
If we go to state radio, what happens to all this siren equipment?
Siren is state radio.
Chad is legal for.
Oh, you're talking about being dispatched by state radio?
Yeah.
They can do that. I implore you not to, I implore you not to go to state radio. They've got 26 counties. The more counties that they add dilutes their effectiveness. So stick with us, please.
Okay. Before you move forward, I see Karen here and I had a talk with her. For your information, they got your special session, is it in a week or two? And I had a discussion with you, and I know I brought it up, and she point blank said, we won't talk about it, but there's a special session. Be interested in what's happening with these data centers. They're gonna be talking about it at the center, you know. So we'll see what happens and everything else. I think it's something that we really gotta look at, and I'm glad the state's doing it, so.
Well, my thought is that it stays local control.
No,
We don't want the state telling, you know, us how to deal with data centers here in Orange County.
because there is problems out there already, you know. I don't know how much control we really can have or what, but,
Who wants a data center in their backyard
yeah.
or close to, or put out there by. I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but the more local control there,
Do we have control through zoning?
yes.
Yeah.
But there's nothing really in zoning it, is there? Well, data center, there's nothing in zoning on data centers, is there?
No, but they would have to come up with
Right.
some kind
We
of,
could approve or just, or.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's what I remember, I brought it up
yes.
3-4 meetings ago, that we should be
Yep.
looking into it, so just, well,
I think one of the concerns about zoning is townships that have their own zoning. I don't know how many there are, but they have to be prepared for that question too.
yeah,
Yes.
okay,
Fire, I mean,
Even small cities.
yeah.
yes.
I just wanted to bring your attention after talking to
Fire
you.
departments would have to be prepared, everybody would have to be.
We can sort of ignore it, but it's gonna come one day and haunt us. I shouldn't say haunt, but it's gonna affect us. 2027 budget to JDA authority. I don't know who's,
They're not on until 10:45, so I can say,
they're gonna read them.
well, we have other green zones.
About the budget and.
Oh, they are.
So here, you're on your budget.
Hey. You made up for Jason today.
Where are you heading first?
How about we look at this one first.
This one? I got it.
Looks like this is been. Yes. So these are just the initial numbers that. When I completed all of the mill levy worksheets. This is what the mill came to in completing the state workbook. So if you look at the general fund, which is all in your packet right here. The stapled one. So I listed the page numbers.
Did I not get that?
Should be in. Right there, and then
Yep.
mill levy worksheet. Okay, so for general fund, that's page 1. Once I plugged in, and you can see it in the subsequent pages, I plugged in every expense item and anticipated revenue. So the mills came to 59.5, that's with a cash reserve of 2,480,000. As you can see on the first page. And then a mill levy of $4,238,315.58. So that's 59.5 mils, which is increase from last year of 59.28. So I also did the 3% cap calculation worksheet for the general fund. It looks like this, and on the very top, it says Elk County General Fund right here. So I did one for countywide and one for the general fund. So plugging in the levy each year. Last year, 2 years ago, and 3 years ago, and then the new growth numbers, the new mill levy. Or I didn't use the new mill levy because that's not applicable to the general fund. So then if you go, we did have a carryover percent. We didn't have a carryover percent for general fund, but we did in our countywide because we didn't levy the 3% last year. Countywide with all our mills combined. So it still leaves us with a 0.33%. Carryover, which comes to 13,645. That's with the levy. cap. So technically you could increase the mill levy by $13,645. If you wanted to. In a general fund.
Mr. Chair, Christina, just to clarify something for me, so. What I'm a little concerned with on the road and bridge, so before. The road and bridge, I had put down includes the 10 new mills, and that came in at 57.46. But. It's maxed at 40, but that still is with the 10 additional mills. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it goes down.
$2,849,120. That's 40 mills.
But isn't that what they can go up to? Does that include the additional 10? It does.
Yeah.
So they were at 30 then now.
Yeah,
I
they
just-
just 30 left.
You know, we're also paranoid about that.
That's where we missed that 10, we're
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I would like to rephrase that by. We gave the taxpayer
A break.
a break for 2 years. We didn't collect those 10 mills for 2 years, but now we are going to start collecting them.
So general fund, and I did print off again the general fund budget, if we want to look at that any further.
Great.
So, right now you are meeting the 3% cap for mill levy. With everything in the general fund. Although. The century code says dollars levied. So we are over the 3% cap for total budget, but not dollars levied. We still are meeting century code, even going over the 3%. In the overall budget, because you're not levying more than the 3%.
So the,
So the 3% cap is on the property taxes levied,
Correct,
not the total general fund.
correct,
And so we meet the 3% cap on the property taxes levied,
correct.
but we don't on the overall is going up 61,000 more than 3.
Right. Right. Yeah,
but we don't get into trouble for that.
no, because century
That's the main
code
thing.
is dollars levied.
Christine, I have a question. In your information here, the health insurance, do you have the 7.76% in there then?
Yeah,
Oh,
yes, because that's what we budgeted, so that.
well, we budgeted 10%, right? But
Yes.
now we just made a motion to go with 7.76% today, so I
we
just wanted-
So that's 635 to go down.
Yeah,
that's what I'm asking. Have you,
no, I
we have
haven't
not
adjusted
decreased that.
anything.
so we could just, we should be decreasing that.
Sure,
So how much off the top of your head would that be?
What page is the health insurance on? Anybody find it yet?
Third page in,
The what?
page 3. The other one I had asked about too was that insurance payment that's in red, if there was still question on that, that's 160,000 budgeted on page 3.
I don't have anything in red. Oh,
The
yeah,
actual.
okay, we're on different ones here. Just a second. You get to the right sheet. What sheet are you on?
The,
okay, so this went down because. Highway department is covering a portion
about 160.
of the insurance, yeah, yeah, that's our business insurance.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the health insurance is on page 3 of this one, it's on page 6 of the state, levy worksheet. The last expense.
So do we roughly know what it'll go down from? Right now it says 635,000.
Well, it's a 7.7, I mean, in 25, the actual was 509, so would you increase it 7% from that or from what we budgeted?
Well, I think originally I had plugged in there 600,000. And then we increased it to account for possibly a 10% increase. So I think we've been going down 15,000. would be good, or even dip back down to the 600,000, because part of this cost comes out of highway as well.
So we know we're gonna have some savings there.
Yes, yeah.
If I take the 565 that we budgeted last year and add 7.6%. It's 607.
So roughly about 28,000.
So should I? Yeah,
Just do 610 to be,
Sure.
okay, so 610.
that's 25,000, so that's.
Should we switch to JDA system?
Yeah, this will be where I want it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I got that one.
Let's switch it back to JD and then this is gonna take it off. There's so much paper on the book.
I know.
JDA.
Anybody have a handout that?
Yeah, good morning. I was just gonna mention that, let's go through that handout that is in your packet, so. Well, thanks for the opportunity to come speak to you today about the 27 budget request from the JDA. So following the July 27th budget discussion, we felt it was important to make sure everybody's kind of working from the same information. You know, we're talking about the JDA's investments, the loan portfolio, and what these outside investments bring to Walsh County. So you can see there's other people that are here today too, and they would like to speak, so we'd be happy to answer questions after everybody's had a chance to speak. As Christina mentioned, you should have the information in your packet. And what's included in here is the JDA's active loan portfolio, the investments and project impacts. My goal today isn't to walk through these line by line or dollar by dollar, but I want to explain how the JDA uses county resources strategically to make projects possible. This role is often to fill in the gap between what a project needs and traditional financing and what other funding sources can provide. So the handout, the first page is just a cover sheet for a summary of impacts, and the page 2 is kind of what I want to talk about first, which is the first page of the first spreadsheet. And that is the JDA's current active loan portfolio. And I wanted to distinguish between spending and investment too, as we talk about this, because a significant portion of the JDA's activity is not one time expenditure. The loans are repaid, they come back in and they're reinvested into future projects. But from that loan list, you can see these interest buy downs that supported business startups and expansion, equipment purchases, building improvement, housing, healthcare, manufacturing, retail, and other businesses throughout Walsh County. The total at the bottom of that first spreadsheet shows that there's approximately $376,000 in JDA investment associated with more than 16 million in additional private investment while supporting hundreds of jobs across Walsh County. And if you look at the broader investments on the page 3, the last page of the handout, the JDA investment is just over 1 million since 2015. With much of that occurring in the past 5 years. In total, those investments are associated with more than 33 million in additional project investment. And these were strategic responses to community challenges. Things like workforce shortages, childcare availability, business recruitment and retention, career exploration have repeatedly been identified by our employers as needs in our county. And really in each case, the JDA's contributions, you know, a small percentage of the overall project, but it also helps secure substantial larger investments from other sources. So in other words, for every $1 JDA investment, it's associated with approximately $32 in additional project investment from other sources. And I guess our hope is that that's the lens that we encourage you to look at these investments through. You know, not simply looking at how much the JDA invested, but looking at how much other dollars were invested and what those dollars help make possible right here in Walsh County. So I know it's a lot of information to digest, which is why I offered to meet with you individually, and I appreciate those of you who are able to, and the offer still stands if anybody would like to meet and talk about the information in more detail, I'd be happy to. And we also know that you're balancing difficult decisions about expenses and revenues, and I think it's important to recognize that the county has different tools to work on different sides of that equation. Specifically the tax department and the JDA. We really want you to think about the JDA as a partner. And one that uses limited county resources to help create opportunities and therefore attract outside investment and strengthen the county's future tax base. Because the county tax department helps capture the value that exists today. The JDA's role is really to help create the value that will exist tomorrow, and both are equally important to the county's future fiscal health. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to a few JDA board members who are here and wanted to speak, and I'll let them do that, and I'll probably move on the way here so they can see them. Maybe, is it okay if they introduce themselves?
Yeah, whatever.
Hi, I'll go ahead and go first. Mr. Chair and Commissioners, I am Shelley Stewart Fullwager and I serve on the board for Welsh County JDA. So our board is comprised of 15 members, all taxpayers. And I wanted to just start off by sharing our mission with you all. So our mission is to enrich Walsh County by striving for economic growth, maximizing resources, and creating solutions that strengthen business and connect our communities to enhance the quality of life. As you are making a very challenging decision on balancing budgets and trying to figure out how to make everything work, I just really want to emphasize a couple points. The 15 of us really are good stewards of the taxpayer dollars, and we take into consideration our mission as we make those different decisions. The things that, you know, you're reviewing on those 3 pages are just really kind of the tip of the iceberg on some of the work that this board has been able to accomplish. And has really made huge strides since I've become more involved and paying attention moved here a couple of years ago and back home. So, you know, we really are providing better communities that supports business growth, whether it's existing business or someone who wants to grow or someone who wants to start up shop. So I just think that those are really important points for us to share. Another thing to consider too is, you know, if the goal is to grow and to not have such challenging budgets, and the JDA really does have one of those levers to pull. Has that strong partnership on this coalition of everybody else that's able to think tank and solve problems and leverage their networks. And it really is, you know, it's a small amount of the dollars that are coming from the JDA taxpayers. They are always being matched somehow. And, you know, furthermore than what's just on those pieces of paper, you know, we continue to attract the most grant dollars to this region. I believe that our county is the top runner in the Welsh County program, the Career Builders program. There's just a lot of growth that this team is able to do because of the partnership. So I just wanted to bring those things to everyone's attention as we're making challenging decisions.
Hi, I'm Julie Gemmel. I'm the chair of the JDA board, and I've been in the position now for almost 10 years, I think, since 2017. And I've seen a lot of transition with what we're doing across the board with our programs. We have come a long way. There was a time where a lot of our funding was just going to business startups, and now we're able to, like Shelley said, we're able to leverage those dollars and be partners with other grants that have come into the county. We went through a period of time where we couldn't hire a JPA director. We offered the position several times out there, and that's how we partnered with regional council to get a contract in place, which we have authority to do through the Century Code that's written for the JDA. We feel that we have the best of both worlds. We have a director that is on top of all the grants. She's constantly striving for new programs for this county. We have the the expertise of all the other regional council members to leverage with our contract and we're getting a lot of bang for our buck. That's what I feel. We just recently awarded a new cylinder repair shop with an interest buy down of over $23,000 on with a Bank North Dakota loan. That's the kind of business that we want to see come in Walsh County. We used to have to take our cylinders to Thief River Falls, and this is somebody that's just down the road from us. It's invaluable to fund these kind of businesses. And you know, in May, our board met, we had a lot of thoughtful discussion about renewing this contract. We met, I think, twice before it ever became a motion. The board sees the value in having this regional contract with the regional council, and I just can't sing their praises enough. I think without it, our economic development in this county would be way less, and our small towns would be dying. And we have seen a spark in all the small towns around us. We have the destination Fordvilles, we have people putting their necks out and buying a house to make a daycare. We have people doing lots of innovative thinking because of what we can do to help them out. And I just appreciate that a lot.
Well, there's some advantages to going last, especially after a couple of days that there's anything so eloquently. But I would like to say, I'm Dennis Marcus, I'm the vice chair of the board, just completed my first 3-year term. And it's been a real learning experience for me. I had some preconceived notions about what this group does. But as anybody that's served on a board knows, when you're involved in the board, we find out there's a lot more going on than what meets the eye. And it's been a real privilege to serve these past 3 years. I would echo what Julie just said about our contract with regional council. Stacy has been specific, has really been just wonderful to seek grants and shepherd them through the whole process, and it is a process. It is not for the faint of heart. You know, many roadblocks in the road sometimes, but if they're shepherded through properly, and she has a lot of good contacts. Many times we're the beneficiary of this hard work. And in your handout on the second sheet, I was just counting up, I think, about 35 or 38 different entities that we've been able to help since 2015. That's a significant number in my opinion for a company this size. And there are all sorts of help that we've given, but on the average, we're probably, and Stacy, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like about 4 a year, sometimes less, sometimes a little more, that we're able to help and get started. And these people are providing jobs in our community as well, which we want to sustain our population and make have good jobs for the people that would make them want to stay. So I would probably just start repeating a lot of things if I continue, but I just want you to know that we do take this job seriously, as Shelley said. There's 15 of us. I'm amazed at the diversity amongst all of us in the group. People bring different areas of expertise in the discussions. We have quite interesting discussions, as we all know you do here too, now that you're on YouTube. So. But it's been a privilege to serve this county, and we hope that we receive favorable consideration for continuing our mission of the fundamentals that we've heard. Thank you.
Anything else?
I have one more thing to add. I would just like to say that portfolio that you have of all the loans that we've given in the last 10 years, those loans are being repaid back to to our budget. And so that money comes back into Walsh County. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we can, as long as we get our budget funded, by additional loans out there for anybody that needs it. And we just need to get that story out there to make sure people know that we're available. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Dawn.
Can I, Mr. Chairman, Julie, I think those loans are great. I think that is the purpose of the JDA. And when I asked for this information for a 5-year history, and I looked at this, and to me, that's what I think our taxpayer dollars are meant for, are for these loans and these low interest or interest buy down loans. Let's help our small businesses get going. It looks like 375,000 since 2015 has been invested in loans, is that correct, or interest by
That's
that?
just the current loan portfolio. There are others that are either paid or they're no longer active. So this is just the current active loan
The
portfolio.
current active, so if we look from 23 through 25, it's roughly 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, a little less than 100,000, right? Would you agree, Stacy?
Yeah, I'll bet you that.
Okay, it was pretty rough now, but a little less than 100,000. I think that's the purpose of the JDA. I am going to be honest, I'm a counter person, and what concerns me is the investments. I asked Stacy, what do you provide in grants? Interest buy down loans, I understand we get our money back. But what do you provide in grants? And she said, we don't provide grants. I said, well, you do provide grants because I see on the investments, there's 667,000 that has been provided, and to me, that's a grant, when that's money that is not paid back. She said that is an investment, let me just finish, please. She said that is an investment, and I understand that it is an investment as far as you obtain other funds through doing that. But it does concern me when I see less than 100,000 going into our interest buy down loans in the last 5 years. But I see 667,000 going into grants, investments, money that will not be repaid. In specific, for example, 150,000 to the North Valley Career and Tech, and I'm not saying these aren't good investments, but I'm just saying this is money that does not come back to the taxpayers of Walsh County. 150,000 to the Relic building, which I understand now the Relic is owned by Red River Regional Council, correct? That's correct, right?
Correct.
Is that not a conflict of interest? Would that not be a conflict of interest?
I believe that agreement was made before we ever had a contract with Relic.
That was
Or was
approved
it
in 2021, I believe.
Okay. Another one, Walsh County Child Care Center here, located here in Grafton, 146,000. That's money that is not coming back. Not saying that it's not a good investment, again, please understand, I'm not saying that, but it concerns me when in the last 5 years, we're giving out less than 100,000 in loans, and that's the purpose of the JDA. That was always my intent, that was the purpose, and I know Amy's shaking her head now. No, I feel that's the purpose of the JDA, more so than giving money out that's never going to come back. How do we keep sustaining these funds when we're giving 680,000 in grants? We're giving that money out, it's taxpayer funds, we're giving it out, it does not come back to us. And my concern is how do we continue to sustain that when we can't even find $15,000 hardly for our domestic violence, when they ask for 15,000. So that's where my concern lies. I think it's all great if we have the money for it, wonderful, but is that the intent? To me, I'd rather see those funds saved for our small businesses to help our small businesses out. It's hard for me to accept that we're giving 150,000 to the Relic and no money is coming back to the JDA. If it was an interest buy down loan, fine. But this is a simple, here's $150,000 check. And no money comes back to the taxpayers. So that's just my concern. I just wanted to bring that up when you mentioned that.
Can I offer one clarifying? When you asked me if there were grants given out to businesses, and that's what I said no to. I didn't say that there weren't grants given out to other projects, which we're choosing to call them investments because while you're focusing on the $670,000, you're forgetting the $17 million in the next column, which is leveraged by that 600.
No, I'm not forgetting that. I understand that you said that.
Right, so those funds are being used to fill the gap of a project moving forward. And those projects are helping solve challenges that our businesses and our communities have identified as challenges. That's all of this investment is all tied back to making a stronger future for Walsh County.
Mr. Chair. I also wanna say that there has to be a vision that comes into some of this, because when I look at the relic. The point of the relic is to help small businesses incubate so that they can feel confident and comfortable instead of taking on. If I went to get a flex space loan for my business, it wouldn't have happened, and that was mostly infrastructure and getting going. Building, all of the overhead that comes with starting a business. We don't want people to fail, we want to help them, and that's the point of the relic. When I look at the career builders. We are literally working with businesses in our county to support employees for them. So from a perspective of being able to get objective dollars from every single one of these, you're not gonna get it, but if you have the vision to say. We are working with the North Valley Career and Tech Center and we're going to Cavalier and we're expanding web and all of these so that we have students that may come back here. Because we're investing in them to learn more about the trades and to be able to. That's a piece of this, is that you can't just look at these programs and think that we're not impacting potential count. And that's what speaks to me, the childcare center. Stacy's now the face, I mean, she's getting requests statewide to learn from what was done in Walsh County. Don't tell me that that hasn't impact places that want to now have childcare centers or to see the need for that. So the Real Good Northeast, that program, that's marketing. That puts us on the map so people know how to find us, to be able to move here for jobs, etc. You can't do this work without planting seeds. You can't just have her in an office and say, well, if you come in, we'll help you with the pie down, and think that that's just gonna happen. Your numbers are gonna be significantly lower. So that's my point.
Okay, so let me ask, how much money will you have this year to put towards businesses? After you pay the Red River Regional contract? How much will you have to work with?
I don't know, I didn't bring the budget with me, but like for new buy down, new programs. I should say, new Indus buy downs in 2026, I believe the budget's like 15,000. No, just a reminder that, so if you look at the Indus buy down, for example, that total number, the JDA investment isn't paid out in 1 year, it's paid out over multiple years. So while 15,000 sounds like, okay, you won't be able to do one visit, but we can do multiple because we're not paying it out in a lump sum.
It gets paid out over like a 10-year time frame.
Right.
Right.
And for example, that last one they were talking about, that was through Lincoln, and so the county took on we took on that whole buy down. When you have businesses that are Park River, Grafton, we work with the city and the city takes part of it, so that gives us the ability to be able to do more. But we're embracing these smaller communities that do not have that organized ability, so they can go, so they can open and start. Really affecting the business around their area.
Well, I just, well, I was saying, my time spent with the JDA, to me, it's important work. I'm a big supporter of this. You go to these JDA meetings, there's people from all over the county, there's good conversations about, what we're doing. And I think the most compelling thing for me is that these programs that have been developed right here between the Regional Council and the JDA, like the Spark Build, Career Builders, the Child Care Center, those things are being picked up all over the state. There's people asking our people, how did you do this? What did you do? So we've got to be doing something right. And I see things happening in our county that I never thought I would see in my whole life. There's investments being made, to fix the housing problem. There's investments being made to fix the career problem and the lack of employees. The JDA, when these things were developed and started, they were job development, and that's the mission's changed. The mission is more about how to deal with the housing issues that our employers are having and the childcare issues. So I think the mission's changed a little bit, but I think it's important work. And I think we should be proud of what's happening right here in our own county.
Anything else?
Oh, I would just like to say, I don't think the question is if we're getting good work done or not. I mean, I think you guys are doing great work. The question is, can we afford to continue to fund it at the level we're funding it at? Just because we have to look at everybody. You're not the only one who needs money, right? Everybody needs money. You saw what well, maybe you didn't see it, but we just went through it with the library, and we have many other discretionary funds that need money as well. So we have to, if we have to look at making cuts, you know, we have to look everywhere. So it's not that we're targeting you. It's the fact that you are one area we can cut. We have other areas we can cut as well. So I want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and looking at, is the taxpayer getting their best bang for their buck?
Just one last comment, that visionary piece I think is so important. You know, the situation we're in is the current one and we all feel it, it's challenging, but the vision, the go forward, you know, we really have been leaned on the subject matter experts. And being asked on that best practices for some of these programs, and that's huge for Walsh County. So I think really think through that the future and the vision of what could be next, and hopefully less issues for Walsh nurses in the future.
Yeah, you have to have money to support the vision.
Connie, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to offer a couple of additional comments from the regional council. And Commissioner Britnell, I'd like to offer that, under Century Code, everything that the JDA is doing is authorized and encouraged by Century Code, whether it's the loans or the grants or other investments. And one of my colleagues defines economic development this way, and I think it's quite applicable to current times, but addressing issues that limit growth as the bottom line. And we did 130 business interviews towards the end of COVID because we received supplemental federal dollars to be able to go out and one-on-one visit with 130 businesses. And we held 7 town halls with the results of those interviews. All of the things that are on that investment list are things that our business community said we need help with. We need help with housing. We are in a childcare desert. We are having employees miss time at work because they can't come to work because they have no childcare. Walsh County has been declared and has, I think, continues to be, even with this investment, a childcare desert. I think that some of the benefits that the regional council offers to the JDA, to Walsh County, to the whole region, we honestly see the entire region as our community, the entire region. It happens to be outside of Grand Forks, the size of West Fargo, when you put us all together, and that's how we view it. So we're doing housing projects all over the region and in places I wouldn't have expected that they raised their hand and volunteered. Yeah, we want to be involved. And so I feel like we're also providing encouragement and building confidence that all of these communities can build their communities. We're building in the smallest communities. We're considering projects in Crystal, population 98. But knowing that we had done the homework and knowing that that's an agricultural and very vital hub to our region, we were able to secure their grocery store, their convenience store, and keep fuel going. And so I think that the additional things that the regional council can offer is we honestly try to get to what are the root causes of these issues and get at them. The root cause of housing is there's been stagnant investment in rural housing for decades. We find the entire system broken. So not only are we trying to fund one housing project, we're trying to fix every piece of the system. And the relic plays a role in all of that as well. The relic is, you know, digging deeper to support entrepreneurship, because otherwise we've only seen somebody like Amy when they're ready to open the door, not when they just have the idea. And we can nurture the idea throughout and support them with the resources and the talent and the money and the lower risk environment so they can ultimately be successful. We focused on food because we're also in a food desert, right? And that's why we have a commercial kitchen. We've also submitted a federal grant that we will live stream all of our programming. So everybody anywhere can access it and continue to explore those
those things. So we take a lot of pride in the work we do. We have a PhD on our team who offers us the deeper research that makes our grant applications extremely competitive. I forget which grant it was, but we brought home 43% of the state pool right here. And so we are leaders and we're very proud of being the leaders. Our team is absolutely phenomenal, the best team I've ever seen. And I've worked for the regional council for almost 30 years. So a long time. And we do collaborate. So when you see budgets dwindling, we feel that, we see that, we respect that. How can we all work together to address that? One of the things that we have in our minds is how can we address some of these needs? Like how can we make flex space continually available when local budgets are very challenged? We can come together. We have other ways to access money. And if we do it together, we have more leverage. So we're always looking and discussing those ideas, both as a staff and as the board of directors. So we are always looking to multiply your money everywhere we can. And so we take a lot of pride in the $1 turns into $32. Really using your money very wisely and smartly. And the investment side or grants, really are on the system side. We have very tremendous once in a lifetime opportunities offered by COVID to invest in North Valley, expand North Valley, expand the career exposure. Workforce housing, childcare are the top three issues on facing economic development statewide. It's not unique to Walsh County. So the other thing I just wanted to mention also, because I've heard a lot of commentary that the cost of the contract with the regional council is too much or it's so expensive. And I wanted to let you know that that contract is at cost. We are very transparent. We share what those costs are. The JDA board reviews them. We actually provide an estimate 3.5 years out with our current contract. And we were within 1% of what we had projected and what came actual. So they are at cost and we are again very transparent with all that. Last year, we did a side-by-side comparison in Pembina County between if we were a standalone office or if we were contracted with the regional council, and they're nearly identical budgets. So the cost is the cost. And we also take pride in hiring high quality staff. That's why you get the results that we're seeing. So we look at it holistically, not just as what the costs are. And so I just wanted to mention that. And one last thing, the rent that was noted in our budget presentation back in May, that we will not have rent next year. So that's a cost we can eliminate. We own the building. We have all the occupancy costs of the building. It's not in rent, it's in utilities and insurance and everything else that goes with maintaining a facility. So our cost of occupancy didn't go away. It's just shifting to different line items. And with that, I'd like to turn it to Barry. Barry Wilford is our board vice president. We're very grateful to have him from Grand Forks because one of our other additional missions is to create bridges between Grand Forks, our urban center, and all of the region, and that we're all working together, not just the rural areas and not just Grand Forks, but we're acting as a region. And I think with Barry's leadership, we've come a long way that way and continue to build those bridges. And our expertise is also leveraged in Grand Forks to their benefit as well. But after Barry is finished, I do have something, an idea that I've been kind of kicking around that I would love to share with you. There's two ways to balance a budget, and it's cut costs, money, increase the income side. And I do have a concept I'd like to share, but I'd like that to be after we wrap this part up.
We'll make it quick in lieu of time. We've got a lot to do today.
I'll take 1 minute. You've already seen the success pieces. They've done a nice job of documenting that. If you take a look at, we all get the 3% cap. There are very few things the county can invest in that you're gonna get an ROI where you're gonna be able to build the tax base. The Red River Regional Council is one of those opportunities. I remember Hal Gershman, who you all know owns Happy Harry's. Hal would always say when the economy gets tough and when my business starts to go down, what I always do, the temptation amongst all my competitors is, we're gonna cut our budget. We're gonna cut advertising because it's one of the easiest things to cut. And do we really need to do that? He doubles his advertising budget when things get tough. He invests more money in things that are gonna make him more money. And when you look at what the regional council is doing, this is one of the things, when you're faced with a 3% cap, you wanna build up your tax base. You wanna do things that are gonna grow your bottom line and are gonna grow your revenue side of things. So investing in the regional council, that's their whole mission. That's their whole economic development and community development mission. So the time is actually now to double down on what the regional council's doing, not cut it back. You know, and that's from a very successful business person like Hal Hirschman's perspective. So I would just throw that out there, let Dawn kind of finish.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Make it quick.
And again, I just wanted to share this idea, so I don't spend a lot of time on it, but I'd like to offer you a handout and a concept on it, so if you would, so I really adopted AI as a thought partner and really thinking about your roads and bridges issues and thinking about, you know, what that all looks like, because it is a high cost and a high need. And so listening to all of your budget discussions and thinking about how do we look at roads and bridges maybe differently, and what is the opportunity to potentially be more strategic and as well as increase potential revenue. So the Upper Great Plains Transportation Institute does a biennial study. You may all be well aware of this, but Walsh County has a forecasted need of $440 million in roads and bridge needs over the next 20 years. Couple that with inflation. Since COVID, highway construction costs have increased 70%. I believe the other data point was about 220% over the last 20 years. So it has continued to rise well above inflation and well beyond your 3% cap. So we'll never be able to address this huge need. And some of the regional council's role, although we've really been in that development lane for a long time, I'd like you to know that one of the reasons the regional councils were ever created was to solve issues of a regional concern. The transportation, moving freight and ag supply is definitely a regional concern. So I worked in the oil patch in the early 2010s, right at the beginning of the oil plague. And so I was thinking about how could we reframe agriculture as the state's leading industry? And how do we reframe how investment is needed in rural agricultural and one of our leading industries, but thinking about more as an industry. So thinking about how transportation is funded today, it's based on traffic counts, population, safety, infrastructure conditions. So your reviews on your roads and bridges are part of that formula. However, when rural places are analyzed under a per capita formula, we always lose. And that doesn't really show the value and the necessity of the roads and bridges that we have. And so adding some additional metrics about how do we move ag commodities around the state, not just in Walsh County, but across the state. And how do we develop, different metrics that maybe round out the picture of why these are important investments and why they're necessary. So at the bottom of page 1, just how many people use the road, and pivoting that conversation to how much economic activity depends on these roads and bridges. So just in summary, thinking about how could you and the Association of Counties and other counties across the state reframe just the way that rural transportation is needed. Fortunately, I just had a few minutes with Dennis this morning, but as his passed as a highway director here, we have 500 bridges in Walsh County, 200 or 250 are greater than 20 feet long. And there's 900 vertical foot drop in Walsh County from west to east. So thinking about all that, and then thinking about how the state addressed
oil infrastructure out west. The state's invested $3 to $5 billion in infrastructure in western North Dakota to support that industry. And gas and oil contribute $48.8 billion annually to the state's economy. And agriculture and oil have kind of competed for that top slot, and as oil prices go up and down, ag is the second or the first in how the economics play out. So I plan to share this with Aaron Burst with the Association of Counties and talk to legislators. But one of the additional hats that the Regional Council Board has agreed to share in the region is just policy advocacy and how do we influence policy on investment in rural places. So the 2025 session was one of the places we've started plugging in. I personally made 10 or 15 trips to Bismarck last session, and we will be hosting our State of the Region event again this fall. And so highlighting these needs and trying to come up with deeper, broader solutions for places like Walsh County, that excessive investment need. And so I'm offering you just my opening comments as well as a short concept paper that you can read at your leisure, but just something to start thinking about. And knowing policy doesn't change overnight. It takes years sometimes, but this may be something, and it may be a system that you could adopt. Even how do we prioritize the investments we do need to make and where should they be made? So.
Well, I know we need a lot of money for our roads, bridges and everything else, that's for sure. The thing that scares me is sometimes when you go about this and then you get them guys up like DOT and Bismarck for so much funding. I don't wanna get them mad either that we're going around them. So if you do something like this, and you said the State Association of Counties. I think we gotta work with them and hopefully they look at something like this. But they don't really like it when you go around their back. And I mean, we fight with Bismarck and DOT all the time. And they're changing the way they're funding us, the prairie dog and everything else, and it's gonna affect us.
Yeah.
So I think.
No,
just
I
because
have
of-
a whole list of potential partners and DOT is certainly on the list.
Just don't pee anybody off.
No.
I love where they, and rightfully so, well, we support agriculture here in Long County. But you're always fighting out west, because they always need more money in the oil and everything else. That's how you gotta get around them, and I don't know how. They did studies, 10 years ago, they did a study and didn't believe it, threw it away. Spent $250,000 in a study for Northern Plains did it, and they didn't believe the county needs. Now this one just come up again and it shows what they need. Where they're gonna go with it, I don't know, but it should tell them that, you know what, counties need money for roads. So. Fair?
I think putting, having an ag caucus in Bismarck makes a big deal. Before it was, you know, they kind of ruled, the West kind of ruled. Well, when we work together and we wanna hear, it's not, they're not coming behind anybody's back, we don't think, because we as legislators, we need information, we need suggestions. You know, everybody doesn't vote the same out there, so, any help that we can get to pull something together to make ag, you know, an important part of our state is good.
Oh, it's critical to us. Oh,
I think what's interesting about this concept is that ag touches every corner of
Yeah.
the state and not just one pocket. So every county would benefit from this, some more than others, obviously, but I think right now population rules. And the big cities, the big counties get the big money and the rest of us get the scraps. And bringing ag back to the forefront. Because these bridges are important to people who are getting a product to an elevator. So thank you. I think this is.
Well, I'm back.
It'll probably take 4 sessions to get it.
When you look back at it, it used to be east west, now it's oil versus ag, and like you said, now big city versus small county. And,
We
yeah.
have established a rural focused or regional focused working group of all the regional councils. And we have county commissioners from every county in the state represented on the regional council boards. The Association of Rural Electric Cooperatives, North Dakota Farmers Union, Association of Counties, League of Cities in our working group. So I think that Eastern North Dakota has more of these particular issues, so I don't know
how that'll all shake out, but. You know, we wanna be your allies and advocates and having you make some adjustments, so.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much for.
Let's move back to more fun.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
take a break. I gotta get some out of it.
We're good.
You remember where we left off?
Okay. So I reduced the health insurance funding. It was reduced by 25,000 from 635,000 to 610,000.
Or the now.
So it's page 3 of the county general, budget on this one, or it's page 6 in that package, the very last expense.
Ten, you said?
Yeah, and that health insurance is in that sheet, you're working on the state workbook. That amount went from 664,100 because it combines all our health insurance line costs. To 639,100. So this line right here includes that health insurance consultant. With that 630,000, but now it's reduced by 25,000 to 639,100 in that mill levy workbook. That brings the total appropriation down to $6,731,809.03. Bringing the levy down to $4,213,315.58. Here, let me share my screen. So I brought the mill down to 59.15 mils. By adjusting those numbers.
And so it was 59.5?
Yeah.
59.1.
Yep, unless you wanna increase the cash reserve. Then you can increase it again if you want.
I have a couple of questions from going through, I don't know, is that where we are?
County general?
Yeah. So, when I'm looking at page, I'm looking in this thing, I just
Yeah.
went through all of the, for Hami, for mowing.
The page,
There isn't a page, it's the
Oh.
third page in this thing. On one of them.
oh, you're trying to find this thing.
Yeah, it's right there on your left hand.
Yeah, that one has page numbers.
Yeah, it does.
You have an old.
Bottom
I
right corner.
think, anyways,
You should have.
should it
the
be
new
page
one.
3 then?
Page 3. I don't know.
Yeah, here,
You
okay,
said we're
sorry.
taking the old one.
Page 3 at the top is Tommy.
Yeah, so the 25,900 for mowing in 27, what? Well, for 3 months, that seems like a lot to me, but I'm also wondering what has been done, like where was that before?
So
This year,
I believe the extra labor or the caretaker did it before
Yeah.
the mowing.
No, last year we hired someone.
Yeah.
We hired.
So that was
Under
extra
contract.
labor was last year.
and that was that, I mean, I know it's year to date, but 1903. I don't know, that was one area that caught me, cause 25,000 for 3 to 4 months seems like a lot for mowing.
So I believe the highway department is doing the mowing. So it's not coming out of this budget right now.
But he'll charge it to this budget.
He sure can.
Yeah, I would expect he will. I think he has to.
Okay,
According to the state, he has.
Yeah.
okay.
So that's the
then-
plan going forward, is we're not contracting it, we're gonna have highway?
So
Well,
he,
he tried to contract this year, nobody wanted to do it.
No, we did have one person,
Yeah.
that Mitch, Jorgensen bid on it, but then he said, I'm hiring a kid, and he said, or a kid, but he was hiring a high school student. And he said, I want them to do all the mowing, so we decided to go that route, remember?
Yeah,
That's,
I remember some discussion, you know.
but I can't imagine we're paying-
$25,000.
right.
No. I can't imagine that it would be.
I mean, I feel like 5,000 should be enough for 3 months.
Well, if you budget or whatever that kid will make over the summer.
Mhm.
Do you know what Mitch Jorgensen's bid was?
No, I don't.
Well, it would have been an old. We talked about it.
You want me to ask Jason?
Yeah,
to Come up? I'll go call him.
if he's around.
But the problem is we don't know next year, will we be able to hire a high school student or will we have to go back to a mowing bid?
I agree. I mean, I think contracting is probably the safe bet in terms of how
I
we
do
budget
too.
it. I just still feel like 25,900 is a lot for.
That's gonna be a moving target every year.
Right, but I mean.
Yep.
I know.
And maybe there's something else in there. That
I
we're
know
not
it's a
aware of
lot,
in
too.
25.
It's a lot of state, I don't know, if it's proven, it's fine, it kind of jumped it.
I do know.
Stick around, Todd, more fun coming.
We did save a lot of money on Omni, we've saved a lot.
Yeah.
Like 60,000 or something.
I was,
When you don't hear anything, but.
I think it's over 100, yeah.
I would still like to see more people using it, Chase.
Well, the ones that go are very positive about it.
Mhm.
Like how.
We
they
have some
say-
weed control we need to do out there, though, I did contact Jason about that. The playground.
Is that
area.
something the weed board could make as a priority, or it's not allowed, or? As far as the contract?
The weed board really don't,
Part of that contract.
weed board just hires contractors to spray weed and stuff, I don't.
I don't think they're gonna go in there with all the people around there and pets and everything else, so.
Trouble is with something like that, it's always liability. You gotta be careful.
Well, that might just be something to. Think about, with this new, do you have domestic violence amount in your?
I saw it in there somewhere,
It's in there, it's on, let me know.
take the hot seat,
Oh, there it is.
thanks for coming out. We just got a couple questions about
Yeah,
that.
it's upstairs.
What, do you remember what the contracted quote was for mowing? Tommy, sorry.
A couple of years ago, it was like just under $5,000, so I'd have to look it up.
But remember what Mitch proposed? I mean, I know that was a
I
lot.
can't remember.
I was just asking about the budget as being 25,900 for mowing and kind of questioning if that's necessary.
Probably not, it's kind of all our additional ones further for the sheriff, the highway department, and everything else is right now. We're not near that will be in worse, what we're at currently, but
I mean, even if we did 10, to kind of whether it was a contract or your employees.
it'd be better, if you're going to contract, it's gonna be well over 10. If it's gonna go going back to contract, we need to pretty much, that's the budget number that's in there is basically the contract for number.
Okay.
That's where it was the last time we had it for a contract. That's what it cost us for mowing out there.
Did it work well for you to hire a high school student, or has it this summer? I mean, we have to be real about like what works.
The mowing's getting done and things up there, yeah, it's that way, but I mean, it works, it takes a little bit more. But, I've had some of the other things, I just kind of left it honestly, so Tom, we mows, I will up and see if it's being mowed, and that's pretty much what's gone with it this year, so. I haven't spent any time out there trying to bought all the streets that you grew up, all the playgrounds like I did last year, anything else, I haven't had time for that, so. But when they're hired, you gotta bring in just for mowing and those things, when it comes to the spraying and stuff out there by our contract, at least with the Corps, we're supposed to get permission before we spray anything, because they don't want chemicals in the park, so.
That's what I said, you gotta watch the liability in the core and stuff now.
So it's all hand picking, pulling, that's how we get rid of them?
In the playground, that's how I got rid of all of them, I was out there with a shovel.
Yeah, we don't expect that out of you, that's been, you have enough on your plate.
I picked them once, he picked them once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should be hiring someone.
I'll be honest, I'm not picking them once.
Yeah, no, in that last year I spent
Yeah,
probably
worse this year.
yeah.
And couldn't we have our high school kid do it, couldn't he do that?
Good, if he's got more time for it, so he'll be on a part-time thing, he comes in and mows those pieces, and that's all he does, is the mowing for Tommy, and then the buildings in Park River. That he's out, so.
Well, I would suggest next year we say mowing and tree and weed picking. Put it all together, they should be doing it. I don't think Jason should have to do it, I think you've got enough on your plate. And Denny, I don't think you should have to go out and do it.
Just went with the grandkids and we picked up garbage and picked away.
Yeah, but the other thing out there is we had the one garbage that we called to dump in one of them regularly, the one gets missed every now and then, so. We're gonna call them and have them come on, go back out, pick that up, so.
The trees soon to be done now.
Yeah. Keeps shooting out, new trees everywhere. That type of tree, I can't stand them.
Grows in the ground voluntarily.
Yeah, my dad's got them all over his place too, they're great, they grow up really fast. Problem is, as soon as they get stressed, they shoot up new trees everywhere they are, and then they die fast, and then they regrow from the other ones, and it's.
The grass is almost dead, and in 2 weeks, the trees are this tall.
It doesn't even take that long.
Yeah.
Out there.
So, any other questions for Jason?
Is there a number we could plug in here besides the 25.9 that you'd be comfortable with?
Thousand you mean? Did you say 25 million? Oh, I just said 25 million.
It's gonna be hard if we don't know if we're gonna contract or not, that's the trouble.
And find district, we were able to find staff, high school kid willing to do it, and I've kind of reached out to see if he wants to get, if they would come back. Well, putting it out there for earlier, we might have a better chance too. And just knowing right away that we're gonna be getting it, and filling that position, so.
Was he maybe interested in coming next year?
He hasn't said yet.
Okay.
A lot of the kids that we've gotten this year are on the fence about coming back next year. It's great when, now that we can finally we can bring in 17-year-olds. So we have a shot at bringing them back for a second year. But
Yeah, great team.
I would much rather wish we didn't have to worry about it, and I could hire some 16-year-old farm kids that
Know how to work.
will get out there and work and steal away from their parents for the summer or whatever, and get them and bring them back on it for a few years, so they're not retraining all the time. But we're restricted for federal laws, what we can do, for types of equipment that they're around, so. So she didn't have to have a license.
Just for a guessing game, should we lower it down to 18,000, sort of halfway in between, and then
If we're doing that, I think. We'd probably get away with 17.5.
oh, you had to undercut me. Let's do that then, we'll leave it at 17.5.
Hopefully so.
Any other questions for Jason on Holly? That was about all we had.
I have a question, did you guys look at road and bridge at all?
No,
Not yet.
Okay. So road and bridge, when we're up at the max mills, that puts us at 2.8 million. So just so, look at working off of that. So 2.8 million for our totals, and we'd have that motion for 12 million on there. We have. That drops my budget down to 1.3 to cover everything else. So I'm cutting things to get to it right now. I've cut stuff to try and figure out to get down to that number. I've cut out culverts, so I mean, cut the engineering back and cut bridge stuff back. And right down to the point where I'm gonna have to cut back off the new equipment to take that off the list. I've cut back most of the technology stuff off the list. And I'm into the stuff that's gonna hurt to cut.
I'm not following, I'm sorry, I don't understand.
If I would know we're doing this, I would have printed out and brought it, but for our total budget for road and bridge is $2.8 million.
Okay,
And with A12B coming out of that takes we have an estimate of that 1.5 million.
oh, okay,
So trying to fit that into the budget is, within like 100,000. But we just bought diesel fuel. And I can't cut that budget.
Yeah.
We're halfway through the year and we have a $350,000 budget and we're over 160,000, we're over halfway there. And the price of diesel fuel was just climbing.
What did you have in your prairie dog funds?
I think there's 4 in that.
400,
4 million.
4 million, can we take it out of there?
Yeah, that was earmarked towards doing that project on number 9, because we didn't have enough money to do it. And we'll get this next bucket, and I still don't know if we'll have enough money to do that overlay to go up there.
It'll cost us 4 million?
Oh, yeah, it was gonna cost us closer to 6.
Jeez.
Good.
I'm just looking at road and bridge here and, like, engineering fees went from 130 to 300,000. I was just wondering if we could.
I cut that back again, but that's part of that 300,000 was we would have the bridge inspections coming out of there. So I've cut that back and I've cut a lot of that stuff out.
When you say, you cut it back more, do you mean, are you telling me you're not requesting the 300,000 or you cut it back?
No, I'm trying to get that, I'm cutting up everything to try and get to that 2.8. So I'm going in there and cutting, so like what I've done on my budget to try and realign it, I've done culverts to that 0. I've cut a bunch of the asphalt for chip seals and skip that portion. Pull that out.
We haven't made a decision on that. No, we just asked for an estimate.
He told me just the other day, and I said, be careful where you cut. You start cutting chip seal and culverts and everything else, it's gonna bite us years down the road.
Well, and to this point, every township that's coming to me, they'll do a cost share. To help them out with their portion, because we've had money in the budget to cost share the columns for everybody else, we're required. You know, it's kind of a stipulation in century codes to help with those things, if we have the funding to that.
So Jason, you're saying what we were at with the 4 million, that was the original.
But 4
Now
million.
we're at that 2.8, that's what you're cutting, you're looking
Cause that 4 million was me putting a number back there to what our needs are. Before knowing what the new value is, it's me protecting the highway department to make sure we're doing maximum.
Okay, that was kind of my question too. So this 4 million is the number you're trying to get to 2.8. Okay. Now we're on the same page.
But that 4 million includes paving and 12B, the whole 12B.
No.
No, that mile and a half.
The pay full 12B is like
Oh, yeah, and the 12.
10 to 12, yeah.
And where does that show up here?
It doesn't on that sheet, I put it in where, on a different pavement, on a different one, so I'd have to print that out and bring it for you, so. I can submit that to everybody, so they can see what I've done with it.
That would help to see
Yeah, if I would know where to go, I would, for it, so that's where I'm at, so.
Sort of update is what you're thinking for the next time.
have a little time.
Yeah.
And I would say that would be my other request, would be a report, so. When we look at capital projects for 27, we're having the 10 mils. Like that, we have a report of what we're planning for that, same thing when you have your capital outlay. And, even building and grounds improvement, like I'd like to see what's the plan for 27, so we maybe have talked about it. But I think come budget time, it's smart for us to be like, this is the plan for this money, so that if it's not used, or maybe it's something we have to do it over 2 cycles. And say, okay, we're ready now to be able to do that, because we just didn't have it pegged. But instead of just like a hope in the wind and we do it, I'd rather us.
Well, the capital projects, before we even levied that money, we had to say what we were going to use it for. So the 10 mils have been set aside for the jail and the HVAC system. That was designated when we initially started those 10 mils for capital projects. Once we're done taking money for the jail and HVAC out of the capital projects, we'll have to designate again to keep levying those 10 mils.
So is there an end? I'm on that?
Not yet.
Yeah, okay. That's what's so hard. They're making us project what we're gonna use it for, and then all of a sudden let's call it a disaster, something goes really to heck on us. Can we use that?
And depending on how you set up things with those capital, with that capital project mill levy for that first pen that the commissioners can approve of where they go. That money is allowed to go towards all infrastructure that the county wants, so you could use it, you could just put it as a generalization where it could go for. I think at one point in time, when I first started, we had actually written up where that money would go to the to be available for the county fair building, to be available for all buildings. And then roads and bridges, for anything else infrastructure related, we looked at it, but it needed to be earmarked for one thing in particular instead of general. That's why I just went right to that.
Let's not forget the sheriff's office.
And that would come out our 10 mils that we said. Jail, and at that time jail included sheriff's office, right? So it was the jail project and the HVAC. So I feel like we're still, if we can use it for the sheriff's office, we can do that. But we're talking two separate 10 mils. You're talking your 10 mils for highway. I'm talking the 10 mils for
So,
capital.
yeah, so it's 10 mils. There's 10 mils that was voted on that we use for roads and bridges, period. But the commissions have ability to do, that's the additional up to 20, so the commissioners can do 10, and then the other has to be voted. So, there's.
We're already doing Commissioner 10, aren't we?
Yeah, you're doing the commissioner 10 for the jail, and then we had the voted on 10
To get to
for
40.
roads and bridges.
Right. That's our total. That's your 40. that
Well,
you
just
have.
the 10 up to 40.
Right, cause
Our
you,
10 is separate.
so you're planning 30 with the 10 additional, like your operating is the 30. The 10 additional are to get to 40 for roads and bridges only.
The cap, yeah, so a road and bridge can only be 30 mils, maxed out. You have to have the capital 10 mil vote that was voted on to get to the 40, which is my full operation.
Should that be separate on here? Make me feel like that. On this sheet, like I would love to see there be capital road and bridge 10 and that be at 30, just because then we know it's there. For going forward, I mean. I guess as long as everyone understands that, but you get new commissioners and it's.
I like it in one spot, so I don't have to be running out to different lines for paying bills and different things, it's much easier than having to do it. I understand where it's coming from, but that money is, whether it's being assessed through the capital mill only, but it's for the road and bridge, so. I think as long as everybody knows that that's how that funding goes for the road and bridge is, that's the max we can go, so.
And we're in year 3 of it now, right? And it's good for 10 years, is that right? Before it has to go to a vote?
Let's go back.
So flag it on your calendar for year 8, so we get going on it.
They haven't set where, those are highly recommended that you don't wait for the last year for
Yeah.
it to go, so if it fails, you can go back the next year and hopefully get it set that time.
So we're only 5 years away from having to start over on this.
Yep. I have a file that has exactly what we printed out for it, so.
Okay, let's move forward.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any other questions on the general fund? So if I reduce the caretaker to 17,500. That brings total appropriation to $6,723,409.03. So let's see what it says to the mill levy.
Need some Velcro, just keep changing these.
Okay. I have to reduce this slightly. I have to reduce that by a number. $8,400. Okay. Making sure, have to make sure all the numbers match. 59.03 mils.
And what was that, 4 million, what?
$4,204,915.58 for the levy. Bringing the mills down to 59.03.
Still would be nice to chop more.
I'm still at where I'd like to see us, if we drop it 5 mils, so that when they get the 10 mil increase, it's only a 5 mil increase.
Any other suggestions for the general fund? Okay, we can move on to the capital projects. That was just the 3% budget cap increase for the mills.
What page do you want there?
So.
I got
it
page
is on
7.
Page 7. So 9.85 million. No, it's just a budgeted jail expense.
Well, shouldn't we be taking the full 10 mils?
So. The 3% budget cap has to go up the last 3 years.
We should have never been taking less than 10 mils, though, I don't know.
Well, I didn't know what I was doing last year, so I was plugging in numbers from previous years. So last year you levied 680,000, I think the year before it was 670,000.
I think with the 3% cap, that's what's gonna happen is the mill's gonna go down, or potentially anyway. Yeah.
Because of the value increase.
Yeah. I think that's what we're gonna have to do.
Deal with, you know.
So we're at our cap there. It says
This
with
is
a
the
limitation, but I
3%, yeah.
just wondering if we're below or if we're added.
This is the 3% of the levy from last year was 680,000.
So you can go up to 7.
Yeah, that was exactly the 3% increase. Last year, we levied 680,000.
I get, and maybe I'm doing it wrong, I get 704,300. 680,000. 1.03. Is 700,400, so I get less than you.
There's no growth in there
Oh.
that is contemplated in her number, I think that isn't.
Showing on mine, yeah, okay, gotcha,
Throw your calculator away.
yeah.
I want a bigger number.
I like the bigger number too.
Yeah.
And that was all budgeted under the jail expense for 2027. So next is road and bridge, which we already discussed, the 40 mils is 2.8 million as shown on the sheet, which is less than what's in Jason's budget, so he was gonna adjust it and come back with some cuts that he wanted to discuss.
We're gonna come back to road and bridge, because I think if he's adjusting his budget to account for 12B. We haven't made a decision on that. I mean, I'm assuming we're gonna come back to this one.
Well, we have.
Later.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you have until October 10th for final budget approval.
We'll let him swing his numbers and then. There's gonna definitely have to be some adjustments there.
So next is county agent. In accounting for their fund balance. We did a $50,000 cash reserves for them. And all their expenses leaves them at 1.51 mils. Is there any questions on county event?
That was matching their request.
That's matching their budget,
Yeah.
so their request was 154,290, and then if you account for a $96,000 fund balance. They had, that's an estimated fund balance, it could be more, so if you look up at the screen. Their fund balance at the end of 25 was 128,000.
Yeah.
So. This is just estimating that they'll have 96,000 in their account, they could have more at the end of the year than that.
Just the projection based on.
It's just the projection based on revenue and the 2026 budget.
That's based on 2 agents too, isn't it?
I was gonna say, yeah, you don't have. the
Yeah,
climate
this
there
is
too.
salary for
Yeah.
all the budgeted salaries for every agent in 26.
Depending on how fast they fill that.
And then the 2027 request is budgeting for 2 agents as well, so.
I mean, that's a pretty big fund balance for,
It's just, I think with Bradley, it's been just kind of a hanging on just because of so much change in the last 5 years there.
There was a vacancy there for quite a
Not
while.
only that, we hired part-time,
Yeah.
So the fund balance right now is 158,900. Is the fund balance right now,
and they're over halfway through the year.
yes. So I can pull that up here. Right here. I can maybe try to zoom it in.
Realistically, they probably won't fill the position till after the first of the year.
Is right here.
Well, are they not tied to that 75% carryover like the rest of us?
well, that's what I was just gonna
That's
say, I
fine.
think they.
Isn't that what you figured out though with it here?
It's within limitations, let me. I mean, that's projecting a $96,000 fund balance, it could be way more than that because of the cost, but. We use the 2026 estimated budget for the year, so. I can always adjust it.
I guess if the projection is 96,000, so that would fall under the 75%.
It's 90,000 plus a $50,000 cash reserve. You could get rid of the cash reserve for county agent and probably be fine.
I think it seems steep, but
So if you wanna move it down to 25,000 or. That moves the mill levy down to 1.16 mil.
Well, you're, like you said, you wanna get down and more, that'd be a place to pick on.
And they still would have 25,000,
yeah, I mean, I think they're a little flush with funds right now.
they are. I agree with that.
They should be able to last for another year in case something goes up, I would cut it.
So cut 25,000.
Yeah,
So that means that. The mill levy would go down to 1.16.
1.1?
16. And the amount levied. Would be $82,528.68.
82,528.
So now we're at 130.7 with just those changes. So reduce county general to 59.03 and county agent to 1.16. So then looking at veteran services.
We're not changing it till we're all done.
So veteran services. They have an estimated fund balance of 62,000 after this year's budget, with the budget request of $86,101. In accounting for 47,600. Cash reserve. Their mill was at 1, with a mill levy of $70,920.26. So that's on page 10. The veteran services fund balance right now.
Cause we were in the negative on them a couple of years ago. I remember.
We do it down.
They, and then.
And
they
then we
went over.
increase the mills, right?
Yeah.
So I hate to see them. And Tam is doing a lot of really good things.
Yeah, she is.
I wish we could get reimbursed from other counties since we have people coming from other counties now.
Yeah. I think
That'd be
they
nice.
helped us too. I think Cavalier helped us a lot when we were in Drum.
Yeah.
Before we had her, so.
Fund balance of 70,000 right now, so. Let's leave it as is,
Yeah,
or
that seems.
seems fair, okay? So we'll move on to public health. This was their budget request. 172,850, and it came to 2.43 mils.
Is there much we can do there? I can't remember with public health.
We work on a lot of grants and everything that.
Yeah.
Pretty tough.
But they have a pretty good reserve too, didn't they?
Yeah, some of it was some bad, I don't remember, I'm not on that board anymore, but there was a reserve there, but he was. Cause of less federal money and stuff coming in, he was a little leery what was gonna happen.
I'm pretty sure he drew down on that reserve last year. That's part of their budgeting, and their current is 2.5, and it's at 2.43, max is 5, so.
Alan's usually pretty good there.
Says total reserve 491,000, total expenses are 971, so.
I think you take some off of that one, that kind of reserve.
But expenses are.
But I think before you cut that, I'd ask him to come in and ask, is there anything
What
you
he'd be
give us
comfortable
back, yeah. And it's hard for him, I remember even when, I can't think of her name, when she was here, she, same thing, the grants, someone, Wanda, sometimes they were there and sometimes they weren't, and they were just, it was like a guessing game, a shooting match, you know? And thankfully, we got a lot of the grants usually, but now with federal dollars and everything getting cut, what's gonna happen? That's a touchy one there.
Yeah, so let's leave it, let him come in.
Yeah.
All right, next on the list is public library. So we can reduce this now,
Tentatively,
tentatively.
yeah.
And then is this taxable valuation correct? That's listed, it would.
So then we'd have to update the taxable valuation as well, because we're adding in Grafton. So,
Well, exhibit A.
Yeah.
yeah,
We went through that already today.
okay, so I have it listed on your sheets down here. So I'll just adjust it on my document. So. We just need to add in Grafton City's valuation of 12 million to the library valuation. So 70, oops, you did that wrong.
It's 66 something.
$66,735. Is what
Yep, 66,735,853. So now I can plug that in. Using our levy worksheet. And then,
Just figured something else. We start earlier every year on these budgets, but we would just work longer at them.
we do a more thorough job, or
Yeah. Well, everything's changing.
well, money's tighter, right?
okay, and then we were going to reduce that to 108.
108,780. Says on exhibit A, city and county shares 1.63 mils, 108,780.
One. That brings the mill levy down to 1.63. Is that, you wanna leave it, or do you wanna get it up to that 1.8? In the agreement, appendix 8?
No.
No, it's one.
Okay.
108 is.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
1.63 mils is what it says.
Okay,
So that's a savings of 0.74 mils for the library.
We've been here on the computer quick 3 times.
It says go home.
Goes to spy.
yeah. So now we're down to 129.96. If the library goes down to 1.63, okay, next is historical society. 0.25 mils, that's 18,000.
That does not include the 5,000 that we give probably.
That's in the general fund.
Correct.
Starts throwing out to me today, but. I think we should be giving the mills and not a separate donation. Because pretty soon then we should be giving separate donations to all these other places, and that's always made me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think? Cut out to 5,000? That for all the stuff they do and everything else that.
They're sitting pretty good too.
And
I think they could put in a request to these places that do gaming and get that 5,000 easily.
We got a quarter of land out there that they're,
What was that, Denny?
they've got a quarter of land out there that they're.
Yeah, and they're always saying it's pretty flush and fun, but.
whatever.
Well, can we, I mean, just kind of look at. Stew a little bit, I mean, just kind of think about that, and, because we're gonna have to come back to the general fund and.
We gotta come back, yeah.
I mean, I would like to get these updated numbers
And then-
sent to me and then kind of go through them again, and we can talk about that again.
I'm just
Because
gonna-
that 5,000's in the general fund, so.
Mhm.
But we're okay with this one.
Yeah.
Okay,
I just wanted to make sure that wasn't included in here, and I didn't think. it
no,
was, but-
no, it's just the 18,000 mill request. Okay, next is. The, Walsh County Water Resource District. Four Mills was the 285,000. Red River Joint was 1.32 mils at 94,367, and Devils Lake Water Resource District was $3,172 at 0.04 mil.
And do we know if we can cut either one of those yet? That Red River Joint and Devils Lake Water Resource.
So Water Resource District, I do not think you have
No, not,
authority to,
no, not our
But-
local one.
but. I'm sure you do.
Devil's Lake, I think it's for the amount of assessed water going that way, is the best answer I can give you.
And that's only 3,000.
Yeah, and the Red River Joint Water Board, I don't know how they come up with that number. I mean, that's the one, remember when we decided not to do the other one, this one does a lot for us, I don't think we wanna. But you look at, and Danny knows that we sit down there in those meetings. This water board budget, and it's unbelievable the amount of money, all just like the county on engineering. Every time they wanna do a study or something on a project, it's just. It's getting out of hand, really, being honest with you.
Well, I'm going by you then, because you worked with the water board the longest. I really don't know much about
Yeah.
fancy funds.
We haven't really, and I'm just going past, we haven't really ever changed those numbers, and I could ask them. Sarah on that, I don't know how they come up with the Red River Joint, if it's. Because of the Red River and what goes in there and assessed on that, or, I really don't know how they come up with that.
It's a big area.
I think we would all feel better if we just had
Yeah.
particularly on that one, if we just had a little bit of clarification on
Yeah.
what that money's doing.
They're pretty open, I'm not afraid to ask them, I gotta remember to ask them,
The 3,000 is not a.
you know. And that one I know is pretty much, I think, what we send them water. Like Shepherd in that area, and then some of it goes back to Devil's Peak, so. Or I shouldn't say water acres, land acres, how much there's.
And on tab 26 in your main binder, just as a point of, reference to point out, there was a request that was sent by Christina for their administrative assistant, you know, they're asking wage information, and they are using an increase in a percentage. So it's, that's been brought up in other departments before, so I just wanted to put that out there, that there isn't, they don't do a COLA, they determine what their percentage is on an increase. And it's been 4% the last 2 years, so just kind of as an FYI, that's not one that's following.
Yeah.
What the county's doing either, you know.
What are you looking at me for? I don't have the answer.
Yeah, I mean, they had, their request was like 300 and some thousand, but their 4 mills is capped at 285,000, so. The commission doesn't really have a lot of authority over the water resource district.
Yeah, I'm not questioning it at all, because I know the.
Yeah.
We can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
We give them the mill levies and just go there.
Yeah, but they
And I
did
think-
request a lot more than this, we just.
Yeah.
They have to follow the limit too,
Right,
so.
right.
Okay, weed control. So I've sent this to Ed on the weed board. So this is on page 17. So I sent this to Ed to review from the weed board. The weed fund right now. And $276,000 in that fund balance right now. There's that $195,000 contract that will come out of there this year.
Usually what late November, and then something we pay that.
Yep. So I had just a $15,000 cash reserve in there. With their estimated fund balance of 77,000. But he wanted to increase that to $50,000 cash reserve. So if I do that on here. It brings the mill levy to $159,069.76 at 2.23. So that was his request.
Is that a comfortable number for the weed board?
This is the first year into that contract with this deal, and I'm guessing it will be comfortable, but.
It is the same company that's been spraying though, it's just we no longer have.
Different management though is Centerville with that.
Cause when I went through the weed budget, I sat down with Ed a couple of years ago, or no, last year, and. I didn't feel like there was a whole lot left over in their fund balance after they paid out for spraying, but maybe that's changed.
I remember him coming in here, we asked him that. Cause again, it was that late payment in November that we questioned how much he had in there.
Right.
And then he said, well, no, we haven't paid the bill yet for the week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cause the levy is gonna be 159,000, and the contract's like 195, isn't it, or something like that?
Yep.
Right.
And I guess you can change the contract to do less, but
yeah.
I don't know if that's what we're after here.
I think we would want the weed board to come to us, I mean, if that was the request, I think that would be okay, we just don't wanna. Force that, I mean, if,
Right.
cause then we have to decide, are they gonna do less? You know, if the contract is less, then they're not.
There's enough weeds out there, I don't know if we wanna do less.
Could set it up on a biannual schedule, that was the other thing I thought of, you know. Half's coming 1 year, half of it.
I guess, you know what, we're under our 60 goal deal for this year, I think I'd just leave it. See how it goes again, cause like you said, the new contract and everything is just changing now. Oh,
Well, if you change the 15 reserve to 75, will that make a difference?
From 15,
15 to, well, she went up to 50, I said, go up to 75 and reserve. Or cash reserve.
So then the mill levy goes up to 2.58.
Which is only down at 0.1 mil from last year. I don't know,
well, I would say I would be most comfortable at least with 50, I don't. Think putting that, I think that's risky without knowing, I mean, we'd have a year to. Relook.
So excuse me, I'm sorry. My question is if it's contract, you know, all our other entities that we're working with, they kind of have rolling numbers, right? But this is a contract, this is a set in stone number, so why do you need a $50,000 reserve?
Yeah.
That's my question.
well, how long is the contract good for?
Couldn't answer that.
2 years, I think. It's every 2.
Oh, so this is the second year of the contract?
No, I think it's first year, isn't it?
No, but 27 would be.
Oh, yeah, right there.
So I'm just thinking, it's a set price, like, why do we have to have all this money in reserve if you've got that set price for the
leave
company?
it alone then.
That's how I feel, but that's just my thoughts. If it wasn't a set contract price, it'd be different, because then you don't know. Fuel might come in higher or lower or whatever, but here they know what the contract price is.
Yeah.
But I don't, it's not just the contract, they also work with, don't they do grants, I mean, the money comes back, but they have to have. Money to provide, isn't that something they've used admin before? They're like an interim,
I don't recall that.
I think individual people can for spraying and
Yeah,
things like that.
They have that, I don't know if that program is continued now or
I'm
order.
not sure either.
landowner
Are
assistance.
you thinking the 50 then, or the 15?
No, I think the 15, I'm thinking leave it as is because it's a set contract price that they pay out. Their big bill is one set price.
Yeah. I don't know, but the 2.6 mills that we're currently levying is 185,000, so that doesn't even cover the contract. Which suggests you have to dip into some reserves, so that,
Fund balance,
Mhm.
the fund balance.
yeah.
And the 195, that's just for the spring. That doesn't include the contract that you have with the weed officer.
Right, so that's the two things they have, right, is the spraying and the weed officer, and they're both set in stone prices. is
And
what
then
I'm
they,
saying.
they're spending about 10 grand on this landowner assistance program.
Yeah, I don't know if that's continued though.
Right, and if I understand that right, they only spend it if landowners actually apply for it.
Apply for it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what we're budgeted. I don't know that they've ever gave for 10 grand.
Well, I would say on this one, just with questioning, we should a board, like Ed or someone come in. Would be what I would be more comfortable with and.
$125,000 budget basically.
So Ed, when I had communication with Ed over email, he's in harvest now, or farming. He said 50,000 would work for the cash reserves. So I guess if you're, then yes, maybe you should ask him to come in if you're wanting to keep it at that 15,300, but if you're.
Tell me again how you came up with 15,000.
I just left them a little bit of wiggle room in their budget with the 15,000 plus the $77,000 projected fund balance.
So they're gonna have a projected fund balance of 77,000.
Mhm.
So if you put that on top of the levy, it's $201,000 roughly, there's still 20. Like the transfers on, I don't know, yeah.
So with a $50,000 cash reserve, it brings the levy to 2.23, 159,000.
Almost a half a mil. But that's higher than what you were projecting, I guess. You were projecting 1.75,
That's what I had on the sheet.
but it's still lower than last year.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't want to do this. This one.
It's
Well, I would agree, we have to have enough to cover their contract and their employee rate, because that's their, and then the 10,000, say the 10,000. So what's that total amount? Does anybody have that?
So, yeah, they have repairs, we have.
What would they have repairs for?
They wouldn't have any for repairs now.
Board members,
And then they don't hardly meet.
Or minimum.
yeah.
They do get federal state reimbursement, 13,000 in 2025, and they've received 63,000 in 26. I estimated 35,000 for 27. I sent this to Ed and he didn't comment on it. I can specifically ask him.
That's for spring state right of ways.
Oh,
Reimbursed back.
So they've received 63,000 in 26.
so that's
I
like,
don't know if that's because they
that
didn't get it in
fluctuates from year to
25.
year, probably.
Well, I don't know.
I guess.
10 miles.
Trust
I still
Ed.
would set on one.
I don't wanna leave them. That's sweet.
Why don't we just? If Ed said 50, you wanna just get a hold of him and see if he can lower that? I mean, you know, Ed, I mean, he knows what he does, just ask him if he feels that he needs that 50 or we can lower it. I don't wanna change it if that's what he thinks, cause difficult, we all don't know what goes on there, you know?
It looks like the landowner assistance, they have spent 4,000 year to date on it. So they must still be using that program.
And are they still using someone to help with it? Cause it used to be Crystal. So who's working with people?
That's the question. It's Jacob, it's his ball.
Wasn't, at the extension,
Oh, yes. she was
Rachel
helping.
was doing it,
Yeah,
but
Katie
it sounded like
was
there was nothing hardly to it.
very gracious with the county and offered up Rachel's help for weed. because Rachel could handle it on her plate, so.
Yeah, she's no longer there.
Yep.
Oh, so I would expect whoever comes in as the assistant will take over, will take it on.
Okay. So there would be cost, well,
I know there was no cost. She had time.
Okay.
She had time, so she just did it. That was my understanding. There was no reimbursement.
Okay, soil conservation,
Can't do much with that.
nope. They're limited to 2.5 mil, their budget request was more than that. The 2.5 mils came to $178,070. And then JDA. On the next page. Their budget request was also over the 285,000, but they were limited to 4 mils, so 285,000 at the mils for JDA. If I adjust the weed control to 2.23 and maintenance feedback, that brings your mills to 120 or 130.45 mils. So I'll grab this over here.
So we've got a mill.
Got 1 mil.
I was just listening downstairs, you guys, and I was gonna clarify that we added the admin duties for the weed board to the administrative assistant position and extension.
so that is good.
Yep,
Good.
so. I can tell you that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that.
You did get through to it eventually, but.
Well, I'd like to see the updated numbers in the printout and send it to us so we can go through this and see where else we can cut if we can.
Sure.
I'd like to see some more of those cut if we possibly could,
Mhm.
and maybe we can. Well,
Well, we can all come back with our thoughts on
Yep.
what you think we can do.
is that in on the budget?
Countywide, we are under our 3% cap.
Mhm.
For countywide, so it's gonna be pretty good. Total excess percent to carry forward is at 2.62%. Cause we had 1.5% countywide from last year.
What about the general fund?
General fund is nothing. General fund is just that, it was 0.33%, it came to 13,000. But actually with your cuts today, that number will change.
So we'll get that.
Yeah,
Email.
so we'll update this as well, the calculation percentage, because the budget has gone down with the changes.
We could have a heck of a weenie roast with all this paper.
Any other budget questions or anything else?
I have a thought to throw out there. Do you think the domestic violence could ever be included with the JDA board and they could use their power to get some grant matches and money for them?
I don't know.
As a, like an investment type thing, I don't know, just a thought, when they were talking about that today, that they turned their dollar into $32, well, maybe we could. Somehow for domestic violence, maybe they could be out there, trying to do something,
Something to consider.
just planting a seed, yeah, just kind of. Popped into my head when we were talking about it, I thought, well. Just a thought. Off it thinking.
Are we done with the budget?
Yeah.
Anybody have portfolio holder reports?
Oh.
See, I found no public speaker,
No public speaker.
we're adjourned. Next month's agenda, sorry. Otherwise, you're gonna have to put up with Amy.